Yes, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Before we go, let me know, can you hear me? Can you hear me while I put my light on? Can you hear me? Because there's been a few issues lately with StreamYard. Let me know if you can hear me. That would be absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, it's all happening. I went to bed. I woke up. I'm getting all these screenshots of people talking about me in Last Word on Spurs chat. I don't understand what's going on. I don't even ever go on Last Word on Spurs or talk about Last Word on Spurs. Anyway, by the way, a few people I see who come in my chat and talk, slagging me off. I've got my receipts ready to go for when those people, those snakes turn up. Look, it's the day after the night before, and let's call it for what it is, a much needed win. A much needed win. And almost to stop the rot, if we're going to be brutally honest. I said that in the title of my show, Stop the Rot. Nick, by the way, if you did want to come on, you're probably driving, doing your Uber job, let me know. But we stopped the rot. It wasn't a vintage performance. Some might say we were very lucky to come away from there with the win. Others seem to think we played well. I'll leave it to you to make your mind up. I thought it was okay. I thought we did some good things, especially in that first half an hour. And then I thought we were dominated for the last hour. And we kind of reverted back to type. But what I will say is, again, for me, we look better when we are counter-attacking. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone can tell me whatever. When I watch us, we look better when we counter-attack. All of this keep ball, tippy-tappy passing, slow, methodical horseshoe football. I don't think it works, but the counter-attack is where it's where we got our goals from yesterday, wasn't it? So for me, I think that that is the way forward, and I would be employing a manager that does that. But we got the win. We got the win. Sonny got 2 goals for his confidence. Maddison with a goal and with an assist. Mikey Moore getting another lot of minutes in a run out. Archie Gray getting yet another start in a position that isn't his. And Ulusesi making his debut. So what a great moment for young Ulusesi. Look, it wasn't a classic. It wasn't a classic. I don't think we were expecting a classic. It looked like 2 teams that were in bad form, and we needed the win. We got the win. We wash our hands of it and we move forward. I think the key thing for me is, I don't get excited like others do because we win a game of football. For me, I think that comes over time, consistency, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But oh, hang on one second. Yeah, Uber driving. He's. I just sent the link to Nick. So look, we got the win. 3 points. That was so important. And I said before the game yesterday, you've got Hoffenheim who are poor, Leicester who are poor, and Elfsborg. That's got to be 3 wins. That's got to be 3 wins. Right? That's got to be 3 wins. We've got 1 of them. We now need the next 2. I fully expect us to beat Leicester City at home. I fully expect it. Now, people will say, well, we didn't beat Ipswich. I get it. But I'll ask this guy straight off the bat. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. On the morning of the night before, there's been a storm outside.
Yes. Yes,
there's,
it is.
More to come.
It looks lovely. When I do this, even if I do this, look, if I do this, it looks like nice and bright, doesn't it? It's horrible out there. Like it's
horrible, windy and everything else. I don't know if there'll be any games called off over the weekend, but yeah,
it will. I opened the back door. When I feed my dogs, same routine. They eat straight. First thing to do, back door. I opened the back door. Frank put his head out and went, "No, no, I'm not having any of that, Dad." I was like, "Okay, all right." Yeah. Look. Good morning. It's Friday, Nick. It's Friday, which is unusual because I'll be honest. When I was drinking, I used to love Fridays. I'd get up and I'd be like, "All right, where are we going tonight?" Now I'm kind of like, it's the day before the weekend where Spurs are playing. I'm probably going to ruin it for me, without any alcohol to numb the pain. Listen, talk to me about. By the way, smash the like button, people. We've got to get better at that. We've got to get much better at that. 32 likes, nearly 190 of you in here. And thank you very much to everybody that has subscribed. We are now only 125 away from 16,000. So that'd be amazing. Nick, key thing is we got the win.
Yep.
What did you make of it? We knew it wasn't going to be a classic, right? I didn't think anyone was expecting a brilliant spectacle from either team. But what did you make of the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, me and Iggy were doing the watch along, and we were kind of sat there, went 2-0 up, and we thought, let's just go and finish this game off. And then we kind of did what we did, right?
Yeah.
It was probably the worst game of football that I've watched in maybe ever, from two teams that were like us dead on their feet. They had 9 injuries, we had 14 injuries, or whatever the total is now, and it just wasn't a great spectacle. I think we just had to win, like you said. Sonny getting 2 goals was good for him, but I'm not letting him off. So I'm not having this like Spurs fan. Oh, Sonny's back.
Yeah.
Let's go and see what happens against Leicester, and more importantly, Villa, Liverpool in the second leg. Let's see. And look, I don't think he's been great for 2 years, and he's just always done enough. And let's see what happens now, and let's see if he can kick on. The players, the midfield. I mean, Kulu and Sonny look dead on their feet. I mean, Kulu didn't look like he even wanted to run for the ball yesterday. And it's not going to get any better this weekend, because unless Ange is going to do something crazy, which I don't think he'll do, Reguilon should play, Spence should play, Porro should have a rest, Davis should play at centre back, Gray should go and play in that midfield and give Kulu or Maddison a rest. Well, Maddison doesn't need to have a rest because he hasn't really played, but Kulu desperately needs a rest at the weekend, desperately. And I don't think he's going to get it. I think it'll be Porro will start, Spence will come in, Gray and Dragoshin, and then it'll be Bergvall, Bentancur, Maddison, Kulu, Son, Richie, because that's all we've got, right?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's quite interesting you say that in terms of, by the way, just quickly, big up, Ash. Love you, dude. It's all well and good Bentancur winning the ball back the most times of any player in Europe last night, but did you see how many times Bentancur gave the ball straight back to the other team? I think we've got to look at both sides of the game here. You can't just win the ball back, give it away, and we go, oh, he done well. For me, I thought he had a poor game. I thought first half he did well. We'll come to him a bit later, but for me, it works both ways. Nick, I think you're bang on. For me, I think this is what I find a little bit strange. You've got an opportunity there where Davis could be playing at left back or Gray could be playing at centre mid, but he wants to play everybody out of position. And I'm not too sure why. I'm not sure why we're doing this, but as I said, the main thing is, because people will hear what they want to hear and clip what they want to clip. The main thing is we got the win, right? Yeah. That's the main thing, is that we got the win. But you're right. The game wasn't a classic. It wasn't a great game. And Stell, I think, got it spot on in the first half yesterday. He said, if you watch the way Hoffenheim set up against Spurs yesterday, if you change that to a white kit and put that in North London, that's how Spurs play. So when we're going, oh my God, there's goals here for us, they're wide open, they can't defend, that's Spurs. That is exactly how we play.
Yeah. No, 100%. But also, if they could have taken their chances, we lose that game, because they had better chances, they had more chances, they were creating more. They put us under the cosh, and it's the fact that, I mean, we said that we can't defend, but Christ, that Agapuma or whatever his name was, he was absolute trash, right? And I think,
dreadful.
And I think, look, what we need to do is, we need to, like you've always said, and like we've said, is to build on it, right? We beat Man City, didn't win another game till Southampton. We beat Southampton, we didn't win another game until last night. So we don't want to go now until the end of Feb and not win another game, because we're winning one game every 10 or whatever the stat is, or do you know what I mean? So, and Leicester are a team that if Jamie Vardy gets those chances that Hoffenheim had yesterday, he's burying them. And that's my worry, that if we do the same thing at the weekend. But look, the players will be back today. I mean, hopefully there won't be any training sessions today. It'll be rest and recovery, and then they start planning for Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, I'll just set my stall nice and early. I think we win on Sunday, by the way. I think a lot of people will say won't. I said before the game yesterday, I fully expect us to win the next three. Fully expect it. You know, we're talking about Hoffenheim, who are one of the worst teams in Europe right now on form. Leicester, who are one of the worst teams in Europe right now on form. And then Elfsborg at home. I don't care if Elfsborg are in good form or not. We should be beating Elfsborg at home. So for me, I said, look, we've got to win those 3 games in those 7 days. I haven't changed my mind on that. And for all the people that since we win, every time we win a game, Nick, I get, change your mind about Ange yet? And I'm like, no. One win, 2 wins doesn't change my mind. It's over a period of time. But I think let's start with the positives. I thought yesterday, James Maddison, I've said it so many times before. James Maddison yesterday was actually allowed to play in the number 10 in terms of the last man other than Richie. And he got in those pockets of spaces brilliantly. And that first goal, the run he made, the ball from Porro. And I said to Stel yesterday on the watch along, I don't think anyone else in our team brings that ball down the way Maddison does and puts it in. I don't think Solanke's got that in his locker. I don't think Kulu's got the running in behind. I don't think he's got that. For me, I thought it was an absolutely outstanding piece of play from Porro, but then mainly from Maddison.
Yeah, look, 100%. And it's interesting to see. There was 2 things. Interesting to see when Maddison's given the space, he can control that space and do what he wants. And all right, it was, kind of, we all know what happened second half, but he was allowed the space. He was allowed to do what he can do. And also the other interesting thing is Ange singled him out at the end in terms of his performance. Now, my question on that is, okay, great. So you've seen what he can do when he's got some space. And yes, he hasn't been great. But if he's given him the space and he does things like that, and you're praising him, then why have we not seen him against Arsenal? Why have we not seen him against Liverpool? Why have we not seen him in these big games? That's what it's more. It adds more questions on this manager. In that 1 minute he's saying all these good stuff, but then he's not picking him for the big games. He's picking him in Europa League, and then he's putting in performances, and then I still don't understand where this relationship or lack of relationship is with Maddison and Ange. But that touch and the way he, that ball as well that he put in for Son, which I said yesterday, I know it's ifs and buts, but if Sonny doesn't score that first goal, I don't think he scores that second one. Because he's confidence, he's missing a chance, he's doing all that. But Maddison, positives Maddison. For me, Archie Gray again asked to be played in another position that isn't his position. He did okay. He wasn't amazing, but we've asked him to play, right back, right centre back in the back 3, left back. When are we going to see him in midfield? I agree. Fair, he's done well. Bergvall again was kind of all over the place in terms of his rushing and running, and then we saw him kind of get tired. Bentancur, like you said, he did well, but he also, there was times when he was ball watching, and when Hoffenheim had the had that space. And I guess the positives in terms of Sonny with the 2 goals. I guess there's and Austin as well. Look, Austin for me was good. Iggy said it last night. What has he had to do to not be the number 2 at Spurs in all this time? When he's put in those 2, he's when he's come on, he's not put a foot wrong, right? And you've had the likes of Galini, Gazzaniga, Forster. Surely Austin deserves to have had that chance in those, to make your league debut after, what was it, 7 years, 9 years, or whatever it was the other week, and just crazy.
Yeah. Look, I agree. I mean, look, first of all, the Maddison thing for me, I said it from day one. James Maddison's a playmaker. Right. He's not a centre midfielder. He's not a number 8. He's not a number 6. He's not the guy I want running around, kicking people, tracking back. He's a playmaker. And the goal for Sonny, for me, proved that. He gets the ball in that dangerous position in the opposition half, turns, looks up, straight away, pass through to Son finishes. And I just think, I'm looking at his stats now. In all competitions this year, Barrett, he's played 30 games and he's got 15 goal contributions. And yet he's the one that plays the least minutes out of Johnson, Son, Solanke, Kulu. He's constantly the one that's dropped. He's the one with the creativity. Yeah. I mean, like you know, I've seen people in the chat right now saying the thing is like, Maddison's too hit and miss. He's too wishy-washy. Well, he's got the most goal contributions for Tottenham this season. If he's wishy-washy, Nick, what does that mean? What does that mean for the others? I think he's a very easy scapegoat, James Maddison. But for me, I think if you play James Maddison where he should be played, you get goal output, whether that's goals or assists. We've seen that in his numbers for the last 5, 6, 7 years in the Premier League. He will score. He will assist. And for me, I think it's another sad indictment on Ange that he's not been able to understand that, and constantly having James Maddison tracking back. I don't want him there. I don't want him tracking back. I want him in that gap, the 20 yards behind the penalty area. I want him there. And for me, I think he's been one of our best players this season, but he gets a real tough time from fans, and I don't know why. I really don't.
No, I don't know. I guess I can see it, right? I think we see a third of a season Maddison good, a third of a season Maddison bad, and a third of the season Maddison injured. So we need to see. I think that's probably where it comes from. But if we're basing it purely on the numbers, then you can't argue, can you? You can't argue what in terms of when he's come and when he's doing it, and it's not like it's, you know, I'd obviously have to go back and have a look at it, but it's not like it's against, you know, all rubbish teams, right? And yes, I did see the video. Look at the game against
Man City. He was absolutely superb, was Maddison. And again, that was a game where we didn't play the high line. We had the fullbacks staying as fullbacks. Maddison was allowed the space in the middle. I just think, I'll say this, I know people keep talking about Kulu in the middle of the pitch. I don't think Kulu offers enough goal and creativity-wise in the middle of the pitch. Maddison, for me, that is his job. He's a creative force. For me, I think he's got to find a way to get them both on the pitch. But Maddison doesn't give the ball away as much as Kulu, and he's more creative. So for me, I think you've got to find a way to get them playing together. Not saying Kulu shouldn't play, but I do think that he just gets such a bad rap, and he keeps scoring, he keeps assisting, and constantly, and just made him the scapegoat, hasn't he? Because whenever Spurs don't do well, the first player that's rotated that weekend is Maddison. It's not Kulu who needs a rest. It's not Porro who needs a rest. It's always Maddison. And for me, I just think if you play him properly, you get a lot out of him.
Yeah, that's what made it weird about last night. Like, you know, it was just weird how he came out and said, you know, about Madders and the rest of them. It was just a bit weird. I don't understand it, you know.
Yeah, like in the Premier League, he's got 12 goal contributions in 22 games, and not all of those have been starts. He's actually got some really good stats for a playmaker. Some very, very good stats for a playmaker. He's got more goals than Dominic Solanke, who's our number one striker. Plays less than him.
But I tell you what, Richarlison yesterday made Dominic Solanke look incredible. No, he couldn't even hold up. Richarlison could not even hold up the ball. It was coming off his shoulder. He was falling over. And okay, I get it. He's coming back from injury, but just hold the ball up a little bit, mate. It was just. I mean, I can't even explain that. Like, what's sitting there watching it, I was like, he's not a footballer. Surely.
Mate, and I'm going to show you something funny in a minute. I should have had this prepared, but hang on. Look, you know how quickly we can do things in this world of YouTube.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to show you this. This absolutely baffled me. This was sent through to me this morning. And hang on, media assets. Come on, Savva, quickly do this. You can do this, Savva. You can do it, Savva. Come on. Which one should I get rid of? Let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of that. Delete overlay. Right. Here we go. This blew my mind. Now, this is somebody whose job is as a journalist, reporter, right, in football, right? Look at the state of this. Jack Pitt-Brook, but I don't know him, probably a lovely guy, works for The Athletic, has said, good win for Spurs. Bit of a reminder of how much they've missed Richarlison. Imagine if he'd been able to rotate with Solanke's son all season. Good player, right? 40,000 views and nearly 1,000 people had liked this at that time. Barry, this is a reminder of how much we've missed Richarlison. He was atrocious. But that's what people put out there. And fans go, yeah, Richie played well. No, his touch is absolutely dreadful, right? His hold-up play, it's like taking candy from a baby. And there was a couple of times where he got the ball in good positions on the right. Just pull it back for someone. No, can't pass it. And we've got reporters for The Athletic. He's a paid football reporter. And his takeaway from last night was Richarlison.
I just, look.
Wow.
I think I said it last night. I said people coming at Emerson Royale all the time. Well, Richarlison, I think, is even worse. They're both probably not Brazilian deep down with the way that they play football. But there was, you were just that time we were under pressure. He wasn't winning fouls. He was falling over. He even he did a couple of Timo Werners and kicked the ball out of play a couple of times because he couldn't even control the ball right. So I was just like, this is madness. It was like, I was just like, I don't understand what I'm watching. And he just put us under pressure. Okay, I get it. He's coming back. He's not fit. He's only going to play an hour. But geez, I think what does Will Lancashire have to do to get on that pitch when he's gone to go and just thrown him into the Lions' Den at Galatasaray?
Yeah.
Hoffenheim and Tamworth, the perfect opportunity for Will Lancashire to get some game time. And you saw when he came on, he didn't have long, but you saw he was trying to get involved. You saw he was trying to use his body. You saw he was trying to get amongst it. And Richarlison was just, he was almost, he had a touch of the Brennan Johnsons. Am I on a football pitch? Well, look at that flag up in the crowd. I mean, it's just crazy, right? I just couldn't understand it. And if that's what we've got to look forward to, which we will.
Agreed. But it's like Petro, when you're saying that's his opinion, I'm sorry. Did anybody listen? There's 374 people in this chat. At the moment, I haven't found anyone to say he had a good game. And by the way, that wasn't that's unlike Richarlison. This is what he does. The ball bounces off him. That's not a fitness issue. That's a technical ability issue. The ball bounces off him. Yes, he got a goal at the back post against Everton, right? But are we really, really, really going to say, I'm sorry, I just got it, really, 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 a reminder that we've missed Richarlison. Like, this is the problem, Ben, right?
People I wonder how much money is that man taken in a bet to put that on the internet?
Well, but the problem is, Ben, how can anybody that sits there, they work with the Associated Press, right? And they just say things like, God, this is how much we've missed Richie. And fans go, yeah, Richie's back. What was I watching that Jack Pitt-Brook wasn't or was, either way?
I think he was watching Debbie Does Dallas.
Maybe Jack Pitt-Brook was in Amsterdam, because when I was in Amsterdam watching Spurs, it certainly looked different.
I bet. Ben, go on, mate.
What an embarrassing football team we support. What an
wow, Ben, you've carried on. You've carried on this legion of doom from last night, mate. Legion of
doom. That defending for the first goal. Did you not see that?
That's what we see that every week, mate. What are you talking about? Ball over the top. No one else.
Against Hoffenheim, no. Against Hoffenheim.
Yeah,
We made them look like prime Barcelona at times. The entire second half, we couldn't even get out of our own half against Hoffenheim. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I mean, I said it yesterday, and I got slaughtered all over the internet, as I always do, but I don't care. A manager's job is to manage a game of football. You're 2-0 up away from home. What a sensible manager does is, you know what? We've got loads of injuries. What we'll do is we'll keep the ball, we'll preserve the energy we've got in the team, and we will get through to the rest. Not this manager. We want a third. We're going to play every single player up top. I don't care.
To be fair, Ben, we should have probably scored 4 or 5 in that first half.
We didn't.
So should they.
So we didn't. But that is the way it is, Nick. You either score or you don't. But one thing we do know is they did score twice. They scored twice because we had 2 at the back. They went all the way up the other end of the pitch and they scored. Because we just don't know how to defend. We don't try and manage a game of football and say, we've got loads of injuries. Let's try and reduce the amount of injuries we have by not getting other players injured. I don't know how Porro and Kulusevski can even walk up. They could barely walk up after last night.
Porro couldn't jump, could he? Because you saw when that penalty, non-penalty was given, he just turned his back and just not even trying to just at least the only good thing that I would say that Dragusin does, and if you watch him carefully, he does go for he's an old school defender where he puts an elbow in, he pulls a bit of the shirt, he does all those things. Porro just turns, the ball's near me, I'll jump and then I'll turn my back.
I don't even think he could get off the floor, Nick. He didn't have any energy in his calves to be able to jump.
Both of them, Porro and Kulu, need to not play on Sunday, but they have
to. They have to now because Sarr's injured with another hamstring injury.
They don't have to. You put Spence at right back, you put Reggie at left back, you put Davis and
that's too sensible, Nick.
Well, yeah, Davis and Dragusin in the middle.
Can we have an intervention, please? Can we have an intervention? Nick has just said something sensible on a stream. What, Nick? What's happened, mate?
I've been fighting against this. I've got a load of hate. Oh, your agenda against Son, and I'm like, it's not an agenda. I'm doubling down now. I'm being shameless. I sent a picture. Everyone's going, Son will be in his retirement home for 10 years and he'll still be a better footballer than Emerson Royale. And I just said, yeah, but Emerson Royale's got a trophy, guys. Sonny doesn't. I'm just going to be shameless.
He's going to have 2 this year as well because Emerson Royale is going to go to Galatasaray.
No, he's not. The deal's off. The deal's off. He's out. Romano confirmed on Emerson watch. This is how Emerson is. 8 weeks out with a muscle injury. The deal to Galatasaray was done, but now it's collapsed.
Get him on loan, boys. Get Emerson on loan to the end of the season. Get Emerson on loan.
By the way, just a quick update for anyone who cares about the transfer market. In the last half an hour, Romano has announced that West Ham have approached Ajax for Brian Brobby. The forward had a very good year last year, did Brobby. Not so much this year, but quick, exciting forward. Dorgu, a new bid is going in from Man United today for Dorgu. Apparently, Amorim wants him to be their new left wing back. Nagelsmann has signed a new contract with the German national team till 2028. Rudi Garcia is the new Belgium national head coach. Jorginho
Roberto Martinez to Tottenham. Roberto Martinez to Tottenham. Here we go.
Jorginho of Arsenal looks like he might be going to Flamengo. Lots of reports saying that. And Eli Wahi is signing today for Eintracht Frankfurt after his move to Marseille has not worked out. Now, this was the interesting thing for me. The last one I'm going to go through was Romano said this: AC Milan have prepared an official bid for Santiago Jimenez to test finals position. So final board are still firm. They want to keep their stars, but huge proposal or no chance. AC Milan want to try after encouragement from the player. So even clubs like AC Milan are out there trying. They're trying to do bits. Guys, let's move it on to that. Look, we talk about last night's. Actually, no. Let's continue last night's game. As I said, I thought we played well for the first 25 minutes. I thought we got the 2-0 lead. And then it was almost as though they figured us out. It was almost as though they then started to realise, hang on, let's get the ball out wide. We'll just keep whipping balls into the box. And guys, how many times did the ball land at the feet of a Hoffenheim player in the box and they just couldn't control it, or their first touch wasn't good? And the signs were there, but then they came out, Ben, second half and dominated. I mean, they dominated for 45 minutes in the second half. They dominated us. Yes, we got the win, but is that more of a worry? Is that we couldn't control the game after being 2-0 up?
It's the history of Tottenham.
Yeah,
we don't even try and control games. You were saying, "Oh, what's that group? Look how many times Bentancur lost the ball yesterday. Look how many." You can either put that on two things. One, Bentancur is still not fully fit after his loads of injuries and his concussion. Or he doesn't have a partner he trusts in someone he like. Again, this is a bit of revisionism, and it's a bit of Højbjerg looked really good with Bentancur because you had the one who was better with his foot and the one that was just give and go in a Højbjerg. So, two people that understood each other. Our midfield, the way it works, I don't think anyone understands each other. Nobody knows where to move for each other. No one's moving to make the triangles to make it easier for Bentancur to win the ball back and pass it into a safer area. And I just think that's the way we play football. I think we run so fast and we're so busy trying to play 100 miles an hour. We can't just put the foot on the ball, take a look, and then simple pass, move it from side to side a bit and look for an opening to pass forward. I don't think we try and play football properly. It's it's like high school. I've got the ball. I've got to go forward now. I have to go forward. No, slow the game, get down, control it. Control the emphasis of the game, as it were.
My mate's back from yesterday. I feel like momentum is building. Based on what? The 1 win in 10 in the Premier League and beating a really crap Hoffenheim team. Yeah. Like, Matt, stop, please. I love that you are so in love with Spurs that you can't see any faults. I love that. I do. I truly do, Matt.
Unfortunately, Savva, this account was only made like 3 days ago, so it's deliberately made. It's deliberately been made to annoy you.
Yeah,
it was only made 3 days ago.
People don't realize that when we're on YouTube, we can see when accounts were made. So when people say, don't be harsh, Savva, calling that person a troll. Well, when an account is made in the last 2 days and straight away they're talking as though they've been watching me for years, you very much know who they are. But look, Bobby, he's not had a good year this year, had a good year last year. But listen, we say perfect for West Ham. West Ham, they're trying, aren't they? West Ham, they inquired about, or they made the bid for what's his name at Aston Villa, Duran. Now they're looking at they're trying things. I think we've got to not be so harsh on other clubs that are trying when we're not. We'll get to that a bit later. I want to go for some super chats, guys, just really quickly, because I keep getting into the point position where I've got so many. Big up, first of all, Rinketic, who's been a member for 4 months. Thank you very much. Said, morning, fellas. Hope you're well. I think I speak for all of us when I say we're all fine and dandy. If Gift Orban were allowed to play yesterday, would Spurs have won that game? It's difficult to say, right? I'm not saying Gift Orban's great, but I fail to believe he would have been as wasteful in front of goal as some of those other players. So, look, thankfully he wasn't, and we got away with a win. Just quickly, we'll talk about young Oluseyi a bit later, Bryce. For me, just really quickly, guys, for me, I feel it was really difficult to say anything on him, really, because I feel like he came on, had a few minutes, picked up the ball, made a couple of runs forward, gave it away a few times. I don't really know I don't want to judge a young kid on that few minutes. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's sort of a non-applicable performance, isn't it? You see that he's a bit confident, he's got something about him, but we don't really know until he's been
Sure.
put in a settled side and see, all right, what are you about now? What is your style of play? I don't necessarily. Lubo, where's Lubo? Lubo's going to come in here in a second. And go, oi, you lot are clueless. I've watched this boy. He's fantastic. Where's Lubo? Lubo.
Every teenager at
Get on
Spurs,
Lubo.
Lubo thinks is going to turn into Ledley King, and every single teenager.
Where's Lubo?
Every time George Abbott does something on loan,
Yeah.
Healy, Donnelly, I get a message from Lubo going, "Oh, look at this!" Look, and I'm like, "Yeah, League One and League Two. Let's see them do it."
Lubo calls me. I'm sitting at the weekends. Lubo just calls me randomly. Get on Sky Sports Plus, mate. Leighton Orient are on. That's all right.
I love it.
You know what? I love it. But let's see if those players do what Liverpool's kids did in that Carabao Cup final last year, right? Yeah. That's what we need to wait and see, because that's the true barometer of whether they are or not going to be good enough. Because you wouldn't have given Liverpool a chance in hell with the amount of kids that were playing in that Carabao Cup final, and then they did what they did. So let's not gas them. That's the history of Tottenham. We're gassing over a win in Hoffenheim. We're gassing over a one good performance. Look, for me, Mikey Moore, when he's come on, has done things in fits and starts, but we need to see him more often. Gray has done fantastically well in terms of playing out position. He's probably the only one that you could probably say at the moment that is what, Gray has done more than what we could have asked of him, right? But, and I say it with a but, if all these players have been fit, Spence, Bergvall, Gray do not get a look in this side. And that's where the issue is. And that's where we need to, when these players come back, we don't want to see it to go back to the favourite 11, right? Because that's what's going to ruin these kids' careers.
Well, we'll go into it in a minute. Let me finish off these super chats. A user said, like I always said, we bring the best out in teams. Look, I think we saw what we saw from Hoffenheim. I can see why they're in trouble. I thought second half, I thought they were actually very good, but they don't have that killer instinct. They had so many chances to score and didn't. But big up to a user. I agree with you. We do bring the best out of teams. At Atavatron Wembley.
A Tavacron. Big up to you, my man. And I know this account's been going for longer than 3 days. Big up to you. As said, on the View from the Lane podcast, Pip Brook gave the Most Improved Player of the Year award for 2024 to Brennan Johnson. I'm not kidding. Yeah, look, as I said, if JDL.
Sure.
JDL.
JDL.
If I was a reporter, I'd want to be a reporter for Spurs because I think we're the most easily pleased fan base. I feel like all I'd have to do is just pick a random player who's not done anything, turn around and say they're brilliant, and half the fan base go, yeah. People like Matt that just go, yeah, we're brilliant. Big up to you, Atavacron. Big up to you, Big Benz. I said I would rather use one leg Ledley King as striker than Richie. Ange is killing this team slowly. Kulu needs a rest. Well, yeah, Kulu needs a rest.
He's going to get an injury, isn't he? You can see how tired he is. And he's not going to get something like a normal hamstring injury playing that tired. He's going to get something like an ACL or an MC. He's going to get something that's really painful because his muscles aren't recovering. So they all get those muscles are not going to be protecting those like inner workings, as it were. He's going to get something really, really nasty if he continues to keep playing like this. The body breaks down. I know we think footballers are robots, but they are human beings. And the more highly strung you are, and the more thoroughbred you are, the more chance something's going to go wrong.
No, I agree. But listen, that's on Ange. He's chosen at no point to rotate Kulu. He's chosen, as I said, when there's 30 minutes of a game left to go, he takes off Maddison every time. Never, ever Kulu. That's on him. Yeah. Big up to you, Big Benz. And Kudos has come in. And big up to you, my man, and said, a brass uses their body better than Richie. Make of that what you will, people. But I think Richie was absolutely atrocious last night.
Into a t-shirt. That's a really good t-shirt.
Well, let's look. I
Really
think
good
kudos
t-shirt.
that we've seen Richie for years that he's not good enough. And again, as Nick said, we're very, very easily pleased. We overreact to everything. And now we're overreacting, not you, we're overreacting to Richie, who had a crap game, trying to make him good. And Ichko, by the way, so what did you enjoy about last night? For me personally, I enjoyed the counter-attack. I've always maintained that Spurs are better counter-attacking with the players we've got rather than the high possession horseshoe football that Ange plays. I think when we are playing counter-attack like we did first 25, 30 minutes, I think we look dangerous. I don't know why we don't set up like that every game. So that's what I enjoyed. And I'll give props as well. In the second half, we were forced deep, and I thought we defended very well for the most part. I think the back four defended very well for the most part, dealing with crosses. But the sheer volume of crosses coming in told you that we were going to concede. Because if you let that many balls into your box, you're going to concede. So that's it for me. Guys, let's talk about it. Welcome, Mark. How you doing?
Big up, sir. How are you?
Very well,
All is
thank you,
good.
mate.
It's nice and calm here at the moment. I think the storm has passed.
Yeah, the storm, your storm or the Tottenham storm? Are we talking about weather or?
Not the Tottenham storm. That's always like brewing in the background.
Good,
But like
good.
the weather storm.
Dark Crow. See, this is what I think. Okay, let me just sum this up. Sorry, it's really quickly. Dark Crow, I think what you're confusing is we're critiquing. Said what was good. We've said what was bad. I think that's called critique. That's called analysing a game. I don't think people like you quite understand that if we don't do that, then what we become is just a YouTube channel that goes, everything's great, right? We won. Everything's shit. We've critiqued what was good. Said the counter-attacking was good. The first 25 minutes, the intensity, the pressing was brilliant. We've critiqued what was bad, the sitting off, the letting them then dictate the game. But when you're saying lose, draw, win, complain, what is it that you want from a YouTube channel? What is it that you want, Darko? Do you just want to watch people just go, we're amazing when we're sitting 15th in the league and the only teams we've beaten in the last 10 or whatever is Southampton and Hoffenheim? I'm not really sure what it is you want, but maybe just don't watch this channel then. Maybe don't watch this channel. If you don't want football critique, don't come here. I promised when I set up this channel, there would be football content, not just happy clapping. All right. Yeah. Mark, sorry, I'll come back to you. Sorry, I had to.
No, that's right.
I just can't. I can't stand idiots like this. I'm sorry, I can't stand people like that. They don't want to critique. They just want to hear us sit here and praise Tottenham for 90 minutes. Mark, look, some good things last night, some bad things last night. We got the win. For you, does that kick us on to beat Leicester City on Sunday?
Probably not. Well, it should do. It should do, to be honest. I hope so, because at least we got a win. That was the most important thing last night. You know, really, just get a win. It's been how long now? It feels like months, maybe years, since we won a game. But like, I mean, you'd like to think so. I mean, I think we'll beat Leicester. I think so, because luckily there's 3 worse teams in the Premier League than us. And so I think we will stay up.
Yeah.
But whether we should be 15th or not, that's something we've talked about anyway. But, you know, but we should beat Leicester, but you never know with Tottenham. Honestly, you do not know. I mean, going back a few years, you would have said that's guaranteed 3 points. But now you don't know. If they won 2-1 or something, you wouldn't be surprised. But if we won 4-0, you wouldn't be surprised either. So it is what it is with Tottenham at the moment.
See, I think we're going to beat them, Mark. I mean,
I do as well, personally. But it wouldn't surprise me if we lost.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Savva, it's all good. Waiting for I don't want a perfect win. I'm just going to 30 seconds. I can't say this anymore because people like Dark Crow aren't very brainy, right? I believe I've been sent here to school the special people. That's my place on YouTube. For those that don't have 2 ears and can't listen. For me, I don't think any team ever wins a game perfectly, so I don't know where that comes from. For me, I'm not enamored by one win every 5 or 6 games. That's not where I am as a football fan, Darkrow. I've said I want to see Spurs now go on a 10-game run. Doesn't have to be 10 wins. Doesn't have to be 10 back-to-back wins. Go on a run. 6 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat, something like that. 7 wins, 2 defeats, 1 draw. Go on a run where you can turn around and go, yes, I see what we're doing. Yes, there's some consistency. Yes, we've consolidated. But the problem is, Darko, people like you see a game like last night in which I think we were very lucky to come away with the 3 points because I thought they bossed the game. Yeah. And, you know, I think that what we need to do, right, what we need to do is just wait for that to actually be an eventuality before people like you, right, get so excited. Like Nick said, we get so excited at anything at this football. A young player plays 8 minutes of football. Oh my God, he's brilliant. He should start. Mikey Moore's being talked about like he's Lionel Messi. Let him do what he's doing. 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Get his game time, right? Let's just relax. I heard this when we beat Man City. Do you remember, guys? We beat Man City. And do you know what our Premier League record was after beating Man City?
I can't. It's something awful.
10
one in 10, yeah.
Well,
one
we beat
win in 10.
Southampton.
Yeah, but this is my point, Mark. So 10 games after we beat Man City, when everyone lost their mind and said, this is Ange Ball, this is what he does. For those next 10 games, we win 1 game.
And it was against Southampton.
Against the worst team that's ever played in the Premier League. And then people are going, Savva, you're in the mud. Well, why can't we at least wait until Spurs can win 6, 7 games in a row before you tell me I'm in the mud?
6 or 7, Savva. 3. I don't think we've won 3 games in a row once this season, have we? Is everyone in chat? I don't think we've won a game. I don't think we've won 3 games in a row once this season in all competitions.
We've won 3 games in the Premier League since the 3rd of November.
We've won 9 games in 9 months.
Villa on the 3rd, City on the 23rd, and Southampton on the 15th of December or whatever it was. Those are the 3 games.
By the way, let me clarify. People are already trying to twist it. When I say special people, please do not twist my words and try and make that something it wasn't. I'm talking about these special people as in Spurs fans. We're amazing. I'm talking about the Matts of this world. I'm talking about why am I focused on the past? I'm talking about the right now, Matt. We are currently in our worst form for about 30 years. That's not... Yeah. So, look... I
wasn't even born the last time we were this bad. That's how bad it is. I wasn't even born.
Yes.
So, actually, what you could say is
I'm the problem.
Tottenham were that bad that Ben's mum and dad had to not go to Tottenham and then conceive Ben. That's how bad Tottenham were.
Poor them, it got even worse then, because not only did they have to support Tottenham, they also got this shit.
Man. Anyway, look, guys, so I want to talk transfer window. Let's get away from yesterday's game before Matt finishes his box of Kleenex. Tottenham Hotspur have done nothing in the transfer window. Now, I had this conversation with some different people yesterday, right? But lots of people are now going, oh my God, Levy. He's not backing him. He's terrible. Ben, here's the question. The way we are, would you back this manager with more money? Or would you say, prove to me you can coach first, then I'll back you in the summer? What do you make of this Spurs only buying a goalkeeper in 24 days?
Well, it's whatever way you want to look at it. But Levy would turn to Ange and said, Brentford bid £33 million for Brennan Johnson. And we spent 15 million over the asking price for him for Brennan Johnson. So Levy can turn to him and say, I've given you Brennan Johnson. You've asked for this player. I've given you this player. He's given him quite a few of the only players that Ange didn't get were Conor Gallagher and the other one was Eze. The Eze deal was always going to be very, very difficult because that release clause expired. So Crystal Palace could ask for whatever the hell they wanted, and they just lost Michael Elise. They weren't going to lose both Eze and Elise in the same sort of calendar year. They were never going to do it. And we were never going to buy Conor Gallagher. Let's face it, they were never going to buy him. Chelsea born and bred, former Chelsea captain, got ambition for himself, has gone to Atletico Madrid and he's doing very well over there. Was never going to get him. So Ange can say, I wasn't backed. I didn't get Eze and Gallagher. I don't think any team in the Premier League would have got them. Otherwise, Eze would have gone to a Premier League side or Gallagher would have gone to another Premier League side. Neither. Neto. Chelsea got him because they spent the money for him. He's asked for a few players and he's not got them. But he has paid over the odds for quite a few of the players that Ange has asked for. And that's what we've been told by people we know that have somewhat an idea. That's what we've been told. Yeah. The end of the day, I wouldn't back Ange with a Fredo. I wouldn't buy him a Fredo because he would play a Fredo inverted. He wouldn't eat a Fredo like a normal chocolate bar. He'd do something like he'd fry it and put it on toast or do something stupid like that. To get more signings, firstly, you've got to identify reasonable targets at a difficult time of the year. January is a difficult time of the year. I know people will lambast Levy for saying that. It is a difficult time of the year because halfway during the season, you don't really want to lose your best players. Feyenoord has said it. They don't want to lose Jimenez because he's one of their best players.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lose them. But you've got to manage what you've got. You've got to manage a team with what you've got, and we're not, which is why we're 15th. And who's going to want to come to Tottenham when they are 15th, playing suicidal football? It's all well and good putting money on the table, and you all know me, guys. When there's a Levy out protest, I'm one of the first people at the door. I'm there every single week. I don't like this owner. I protested and I protested and I protested. But nothing's going to happen. The only thing you can say is start playing competent football and start putting points on the board and make yourself a more attractive thing. I want to go to Tottenham. Agents, speak with them. I want to go to them because it's a two-way deal. You can't just buy players. You've got to have interest from a player to want to go to Tottenham. And at this moment in time, the only players that are going to want to come to Tottenham are players below us, which is why we're linked with Tyler Diblin, who's been out for 8 weeks. Or was it 6 weeks? No. That's what we want.
I agree. Listen, Danny, welcome. I'll come to you in a minute. I mean, just quickly, Nick and Mark. This is the debate, isn't it? It's does Levy back? I love that word, back, because it's so subjective. Does he back Ange in this window? Nick, if you were the chairman, right? Forget that you hate Levy or I hate Levy or whatever. If you were the chairman watching what you've seen, would you be dipping into your pocket at this stage saying, this is the guy I'm going to give more millions to?
No. I mean, it's what are we waiting for? If we're waiting for, look, I don't think we're signing anyone. I mean, I think they're working on an attacker maybe, but that's about it. Because obviously we've Solanke out for 10 weeks and we saw what we've got with Richarlison, and he's obviously not going to give Will Lancashire a go. I don't see how that's the get out of jail free card, right? Oh, we didn't sign anyone because the manager's getting sacked, but I would not be spending any more money. I would not be spending any more money on this manager. Because what are we gonna get? We know realistically February the 8th is going to be D-Day, or February the 9th is going to be D-Day when he's out of both cups. What are we going to do? We're going to say, oh well, we'll give it until the knockout stages of Europa. I just don't see how anyone is sat there. We've seen what the board and Levy have done with previous managers, and they've pulled the trigger before that. Surely they're not sitting there going, "Oh, we're going to invest another 50 to 100 million on this manager," when realistically in 2 to 4 weeks they're probably going to get rid of him, right? Or the end of the season.
This is the thing, Mark. Let me bring you in here. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, we need more players, but again, I think Ben's spot on. What top player is going to want to come? We're 15th. We play suicidal football. And the last time I checked, Mark, top footballers like that thing. What's that thing that they really treasure? Their
Winning.
hamstring.
Oh.
Their hamstrings.
Yeah,
Right?
hamstring.
What top player are Spurs going to approach now and they're going to go, I want to join that?
Yeah,
under
the thing
this
is,
manager?
the thing is, does Mr. Levy ever truly back a manager? Truly?
Well, what does back mean? What?
Yeah,
I always
exactly.
say,
It's
Mark, back to what level? For me, has
Yeah.
he backed him enough to be top 6, 5? Yes.
Yes.
Has
Yes.
he backed him to win a league? No. So
No.
what do you mean by
No. Exactly. I mean, it's very subjective when this word backing, whatever that means. But he's certainly had more than anybody else did. I know the prices are different these days, but if you sort of take it back, he's certainly had a lot more than anybody else has.
Yeah.
But it's the same. The thing with our transfers is it always seems to be done on the cheap. It's always like, I mean, Neto was available. Oh, we won't get him. We'll get matey that's off somewhere now, who's injured. Who was injured.
Odegaard? Hang on,
Odegaard, that's him.
Devil's advocate, Mark, because I think this is really important. Chelsea and Spurs come in for you. Where are you joining?
Well, exactly.
I think
Plus,
we've got to take that into account as fans as well.
Plus,
I
they'll
don't
pay
think we
them.
ever do.
I mean, this is what I've never understood. This game-changing stadium was meant to mean that we could pay the wages, that we could attract the top players.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen it as well as I have. The amount of people at the club that's on over 100k a week. I know 100k a week's mental. It's madness. Like it's more money than what any of us could ever dream of.
For us normal people, 100k a week, I'm living the life, right?
Well, of course, yeah. Well, to be honest, I need new liver immediately within a couple of weeks. But I mean, you've only got to see I think we had 3 over 100k. Son,
I think it's 4.
Timo.
Yeah, it's Son, Madison, Werner.
Yeah, it might be 4.
You continue talking. I'll get up our salary.
But I think Chelsea had 7 or 8, and all the teams that we're allegedly competing with, their wages are crazy compared to us. Crazy. I mean, I think Sonny's the top earner on 180 a week. 180 is average.
Here you go. So we've actually got 5. Now, apologies about all the Google ads that will pop up on this screen. So if you look here, this is what we've got. And then we can look at any club you want to look at, by the way, just from this drop down screen. So this is Spurs, okay? Oh, close that. So there we go. So if we look at the top, we've got 4 full-time Spurs employees on over 100k. Son, Madison, Romero, and Kulu. And then you've got Timo Werner that is officially not our player, but he's on over 100 grand a week. Who was the other team? You said Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, crazy. What?
Right.
Anybody? Chelsea, Man City.
Chelsea. Hang on. Whoa. Look at these pop-ups. That is absolutely mental. Sorry. Go away. Right. Chelsea have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Palmer's 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 on Colwill, 16. They have 17 players of their 25-man squad.
Exactly. And their stadium is 2/3 the size of ours.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't have all the concerts.
A nightclub underneath it, by the way.
Yeah. And they don't have all the concerts, the NFL, the go-karting, the skywalks, and whatever else goes on there. It's a nonsense, to be honest. We built this. Well, the first thing that happened when we built the stadium is the wage bill got slashed. Why is beyond me, because that's what the stadium was built for, allegedly, to make us compete. I mean, players aren't going to come for us. I mean, let's face it. If you're a professional football player, you go where the money is. It's a shortish career. 20 years maybe, if you're lucky. And so in the 20 years, you've got to like fill your boots to support you for the rest of your life. You know, so they're not going to come to us.
Savva, just to bring some breaking news, and I don't know how true it is. We're just trying to find out. Apparently, Spence is out for the weekend.
God.
Hamstring injury. Hamstring.
You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up.
It gets better and better.
Let's hope it's not true, but you cannot make it up, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I was just trying to see if Romano has said anything in the last few minutes. Yeah, Arteta denying links with Cunha. Lots of Arsenal stuff this morning. Lots of reasons why João Felix and Nkunku aren't getting game time. Blah, 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 blah. Danny, big up to you, Dan. Thanks, Mark.
Morning.
Big up to you. Good morning to you, sir. We're going to look at the Deloitte Money League in a minute because I did promise yesterday I'd do it, and in 2.5 hours I didn't. We will look at that in a minute. But Dan,
Savva the clickbait merchant.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. Clickbait. Dan, when you look at like those salaries, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? How little we pay. So I'm going to ask you this, Dan. If we've got like even Newcastle have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even Newcastle have got 8 footballers on over 100 grand a week. Dan, if we're not paying the salary, we're 15th in the table. We play this style of football and everyone gets injured because of Ange's training and the way we play. Can you tell me what is the attraction for any player better than what we've got who joined Tottenham Hotspur?
I can't see anything. And you know my opinion on it. If you put the money down and you're willing to pay the wages, you can muscle out any club as far as I'm concerned. With, let's say, 8 out of 10 players. Put Chelsea, Spurs there. If Spurs go and slap out 80 to 100 grand down more on the table than Chelsea, I think there's a lot more chance he comes over at Spurs than if you go back 10, 15 years. Very mercenary these days. But at the moment, you better offer him some extra money, because why are you going to want to go to Spurs? Who's going to want to play with these suicide tactics, especially if you're a defender? The manager just looks a complete and utter mess. We're fighting relegation, basically. As far as I'm concerned, we're in a relegation fight because we're looking over our shoulders for every result now. That's relegation fight to me. There's no drawing power there right now unless you put significant amount of money on that table.
Yeah, I mean, look, but by the way, lots of people saying this is crazy. You got to back the manager. Sure, I'm just, again, I know people don't like this. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and look at it from the owner's point of view, right? And comments like this, when we're saying backed with 400 million of kids, well, listen, when the manager signed in Dominic Solanke for 60 million, he's not a kid. James Maddison signed, he's not a kid, right? Brendan Johnson was 23 when we signed him. I mean, it's not like, we're not talking about they're all kids. The problem here is, Reezy, is you've got the manager on one hand saying, I don't want to buy experienced players. I want to develop them. And then you've got fans like you saying, oh, but he's only been back with kids. Well, if he wants more experienced players, shouldn't he be saying, yeah, I need more experience? But not, he's telling us, that's not what I want. I don't want that. I want to develop. So surely we can't, again, we can't just change history here with what we're saying. Can we, lads?
He's not going to get backed in the aspect of Levy is not. I'm sticking to what I said 100% and what I said 3 months ago. Levy's already got a plan there somewhere, and he's not going to. We might get a loan in January, but he's not going to go out and spend no money in January, and then he's going to sack him in February and say, "Well, I held on to him that bit longer for you, but I can't go and spend the money for him." The only thing the money might get spent on is where the money that he would have spent on transfers, he's going to use that to pick out a manager from somewhere if capable.
Yeah.
But Ange ain't going to get no more money spent on him, I don't think.
But it depends on how a club works, though, doesn't it? I think Johnny said this, that if you're a sensible club, you buy 30% of the players you buy are for a specific manager in mind, and 70% are what you're looking at for the future of the club, because a manager is only going to be there in the average tenure of a Premier League manager is 2 years, right? That's not just a Spurs 18 months, but the average tenure of a manager is
It's
the
2 years.
Klopps, the Klopps and the Pep Guardiolas of doing 5 and what is it? Pep's been at Man City for 6 seasons now, 6, 7 seasons, 8 seasons. That's the anomaly. Most Premier League managers are in a job for about 2 years. So you're not going to buy players for a specific manager knowing that the average tenure is going to be 2 years. So you buy the majority of your players for what Savva would call, you build a philosophy around the club and then you employ a manager that implements that philosophy. That's why most clubs now implement a director of football, because the director of football is really the boss and the manager is just there to manage the team. But the director of football is overseeing all football aspects. Ange has never spent more than 3 years at a football club. These are just facts. The only time he spent a longer period of time at a job is when he was the Australia under-21s manager, or is the under-18s. It's one of those two. He's one of the youth team managers of Australia. 3rd year, he's gone usually. So why 18 months would you buy a load of players for a manager whose history is never spending more than 3 years at a club? It's ludicrous. It's mad. You use history to predict the future. You've got to do that. You see the trends of where it's going. So you've got to say, what is Tottenham's philosophy? What is our philosophy? Is it youth? Is it buying players for now? Is it buying youth players and making them stars? What is this is the sort of the line in the sand for Tottenham. Where do we want to be as a football club? What is Levy's idea? Or most importantly, you've got Scott Munn there as the managing director, and now you've got Johan Lang as the director of football. What is their philosophy for that? They've got to really do what Brighton did all those years ago, and when Tony Bloom came out and said, "This is what we're going to do. We're using data from this to create a young team, and we will see where Brighton go. We've built a stadium, and we're going to live within our means, but see what we can do." What is Tottenham's plan? Tottenham now have to set out a plan and draw a line in the sand, because whilst we're all in the dark, there's no transparency, because we've got a manager that says one thing, but then the club does another. We've got to get that philosophy and that managerial philosophy into the same book. We're not even in the same book series. We're not even... we've got to get them at least in the same book, then we can get them on the same page, and then hopefully you end up with them on the same sentence. That's what every football club should be trying to do. But
I agree. Can I just ask, but before I bring anyone else in, I just want to ask, there's lots of people saying, back this manager in this window. Sure, cool. I'm all for it. Fine, do it. Can I get some names? Can anyone tell me who? What players are you bringing in? Right now, I want everyone to think about a few things before we just shout random names. First and foremost, you've got to ask questions. By the way, Ange didn't want Maddison.
He called him personally. He called him personally.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't want Eze either, did he?
He had the chance to buy Eze in his first season, and he said he wasn't good enough.
Yeah, so he blew him out this one as well.
What I want people to do before they chuck names in of players that we might buy, think about a few things. One, what salary is that player on right now? No. 2, what standard of player are you getting? Because the players that will move in this window will more likely be either top players that go for massive fees or players that aren't getting games where they are. 3, will they get in R11? Now, when I say that, I'm not saying R11 is that great, but this is a manager that when everyone is fit, doesn't rotate. Yeah. So there's a few things that you need to think about there. So all the people in the chat, like the Mats, all these people, let me know. Give me names of players that come in January that make us better, that can play Ange ball, right? And that will look at this and go, that's attractive, because we are 15th in the Premier League, right? We are 15th in the Premier League. If I'm not wrong, if you've played in the League Cup or FA Cup already this season, you're cup tied, right? In those competitions. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Something like that.
So, yeah. So if we sign a player now from Newcastle who had played in the League Cup, they couldn't then play. Right. So now you've got to look at a lot of players are going to be cup tied for those two competitions, right? So they'll be looking at the league going, am I getting in? If I'm a centre-half, am I getting in above Van de Ven and Romero? If I'm a fullback, am I getting in above Porro and Udogie? Now, other clubs, you'll go, yeah, we know this manager rotates. Our manager doesn't rotate.
It stinks of Pochettino, doesn't it, Savva? Because Pochettino, you said this before, that Pochettino would have his 11 players, he'd have his starting 11, but then he'd have the 2 that he always knows he can count on to substitute. This manager's the opposite. It doesn't matter who's on the bench, he won't play them. If he's got all of his 11 players, he never changes nothing. And football's a squad game now. It's a squad game. You've got to use all 25 of those spots.
So let's see. I want to see people in the chat give me realistic names and put in the, when you say the name, give me a reason they'll come. Yeah, not hope, not Levy's just got to splash the money on wages. We know he's not going to do that. So give me the reason and who you want, how they come in, who they play instead of. Because one thing that's key, guys, on the panel is if you go and get a player on loan, normally you'll get a player on loan because he's not playing for his club, right? 9 times out of 10, common sense tells you they want to go on loan because they're not playing. They're not going to want to go on loan to a club where they're not going to play again. So for me, it makes it very difficult in terms of that. And the fact that we are 15th and the fact that we're struggling. So I want to see what names people come up with, and we'll bring them up in a minute. One thing I will say is Fabrizio Romano has just said that 5 minutes ago, he said, could Spurs consider to recall players like Manor Solomon or Brian Hill? Ange Postecoglou flat out said no. So again, when we're talking about we've got no players, we've got no squad, why wouldn't you go to Leeds right now and say, we're taking Manor Solomon back, who's playing well, by the way? Yes, it's the Championship, but he's playing well. Yeah. Why would we not go and get Brian Hill back or Manor Solomon if we're that down on numbers? Why would we not recall Ashley Phillips from Stoke? So all of these people saying we've got to give him reinforcements, there are solutions. There are things he could do. Yeah, look, just my opinion. Just my opinion.
You could do that. I would suggest let Solomon play an entire season after he's had a really bad MCL injury. Let him play the entire year. Brian Hill, as much as I think he's doing really well at Girona this season, I don't think he's ever going to work in the Premier League. I think he's just flat out too lightweight. I mean, he makes me look obese. That's how thin Brian Hill is. And I'm not the biggest fella on the planet. I think Ashley Phillips is if Ange really wants to say, I don't want to buy a centre back because I don't want to block the thing of Phillips and Vuskovic and Dorrington, get one of them back and play them then. Do what you say you're going to do for a change. Because this, Dan says it all the time. I'm going to hold the manager to his word. I'm giving him respect by at least listening to what he's saying. Now he's got to do what he says. If he doesn't want to block the path for these centre-backs, when we're really in the shit with centre-backs, bring them back in and play them. Do what you say you're going to do. Otherwise, I'm never going to listen to a word you ever say ever again because it never works. You never do it. You say you're going to do one thing, but do a completely different thing. And you've got to build trust within the team and the fan base because that's where it is at the moment. There's no trust with this manager. There's the people that follow him until he dies, whether he sends them down the shit or not, or there's people in our camp that won't listen to a word he says anymore because you know he's not going to do it. So we've got to build some level of trust between the fan base and the team again. Or I don't even know if the word is trust, but I think that's the only way I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, guys, some of the names that are being thrown out here. I mean, Douglas Luiz on a loan. By the way, somebody said Cherky, Hincapi, and Dorgu. I mean, first of all, Dorgu is a left wing back. He doesn't fit the way Ange plays at all. So again, this is what I mean. We can chuck names, but they have to fit. We can chuck names, but Dorgu again is a left wing back.
He'd fit in perfectly then. He would fit in perfectly because Paro and Udogie are both wing backs.
Yeah, but I mean, I get you, but let's look honestly, right? Dorgu is in talks with Man United and Napoli, right? Hincapi, what will it take to take Hincapi from Bayer Leverkusen, who are in the Champions League fighting for the German title? Again, we say go and get these players, but what part of Hincapi, guys, looks at Tottenham right now and says, yeah, I'm going to leave Leverkusen for Tottenham? We're 15th.
F1 drive.
Beers that fill up from the bottom.
Yes, longest bar in Europe.
Longest bar. Biggest TV.
You're so
screens in
negative,
Europe.
Savva. Why would players not want to do
I'm
this?
trying to have proper football conversation.
I know.
I don't want. This is the thing. We can chuck names, but again, you know, we can chuck these names, but they've got to fit. And Dorgu, let's be brutally honest. If Dorgu goes to Man United, right, you can bet your bottom dollar that Ruben Amorim is saying, you are my number one left back or left. They play the 3-4-3, don't they? You are my left-sided player. You're my number one choice. He will go in, stay in the team. At Tottenham, he'll be asking the question, well, hang on. You've got Udogie there. You've got Jed Spence who plays there. How much football am I going to get? Hincapi plays centre-back for one of the best teams in Europe at the moment by Leverkusen.
In a free at the back, Savva. In a free at the back. Why is Hincapi going to join Tottenham again when he only ever plays Van der Ven and Romero and we don't play a free at the back? Cherky, I've heard lots of things about Cherky and attitude. I don't know. But Brian and Buemo. See, now Brian and Buemo I would love. Yeah. But do you really think that Daniel Levy's going to go and drop 55, 60 million pounds on Brian and Buemo in a January transfer window? Especially with the way you structured the deal as well, Savva, because Brentford are going to want the majority of that money up front, whereas Levy wants to do the break it down over 50 years, 5 million here, 2 million there, 50 pence there. That's the way we structure deals. That's the way we're going to want to do it.
No, mate, I completely agree. By the way, Josh,
I don't understand this idea about football that you can just play it. Football is more a specialised game than it used to be. If you're a centre back, you can play in any system. No, football is more. Hincapié plays in a back three. He's always played in a back three, and he's a very good option. But he's very similar to Martinez at Man United. I think it's Lisandro Martinez at Man United. He's very aggressive. Would bringing in a Hincapié, a very aggressive centre-back that likes to play on the front foot, be a good idea when you've got Romero, who already does that idea of, I want to get a yellow card every single game and play on the edge? You've got to have the chalk you've got to have the cheese that goes, you've got to build partnerships with. If you've got that player like Romero that's a bit of a Scotch bonnet, you need something that cools him down. That's why Romero and Van der Ven work, because it's the sort of the brain and the brawn and the crazy with the calm. You've got to have. You can't just have two crazy centre backs because both of them are going to be going that way and both getting sent off in a game. You've got to have centre backs that say, "What have we got? Tools. We've got a chisel and we've got a hammer." That's what you need, rather than we need two chisels or we need two hammers. We need to start building blocks of players. This piece fits with that piece fits with this piece. But you can't.
I agree. I mean, again, lots of people, not just Matt, are talking about Kirkes. Again, I'm going to ask you the question. If I am Kirkes, guys, if you're Kirkes, who I think is a top player, by the way, if you're Kirkes from Bournemouth, what's the first thing you're asking?
Where am I playing, boss?
How much?
How much game time am I getting? Matt, you're somebody that yesterday was telling me that Udogie's one of the best left backs in the world. You were bigging him up yesterday. Udogie's brilliant. Cool. Kirkes, I'm Kirkes' agent, right? Danny is calling from Tottenham. And he goes, "Hello, Sav. We're interested in your client." Right? Cool. What's the situation? Well, at the moment, we've got Udogie out injured for a month or so. He's not back till the end of Feb. So we need more left backs. Cool. So when Udogie's fit, how much game time are you promising my player? Well, they'll have to rotate. Yeah, no, you're all right. I'll hold out and this is the problem. Ange doesn't rotate, Matt. The manager that you love, people like you that are going, this isn't Levy. He doesn't rotate players. If he did, we wouldn't be in this injury nightmare. No. If he rested Porro every now and then, if he had rested Udogie for Spence, if he had rested Van der Ven or Romero every now and then for Dragusin, right? We wouldn't be in this situation. But this is what I'm saying. I think it's a real, Danny, I'll bring you in here. I think this is not as easy as people think in terms of just go and bring in players. I'm not expecting anybody of note to come in. I don't know that we're attractive right now.
January is a hard window to sign win anything anyway. I mean, everyone knows that. But again, you put the money on the table. There's many a club out there that come talking, that will listen. Because even the big clubs out in the other leagues don't even pull in the same sort of money that our middle clubs make. I mean, there's a player I'd like us to go for. I mean, he'd match the system. I reckon we'd get him at a good rate. And I reckon wages-wise, we'd do it quite easily. But is he the sort of player we need right now? Lucas, what's his name? Fiorentina. He can play striker. Yeah, he can play striker and attacking midfield central. I think he's looked pretty good when I've seen him play. And I don't think it cost us an arm and leg. But do we really need that style of play? Is it more of a defender we need? We know we need an out-and-out DM, but we don't use a DM.
Yeah. That's the problem with loans as well.
But I reckon we'd get him for 20 mil, 25 mil sort of thing. Give us more stability up front because he can play striker. Young player sort of thing we go for, sort of matches the system for me.
That's the problem with loans as well. Because if you loan a player, normally the club that loans you it, they want rid of him. And so they want him in the shop window. Now, if he's just coming in and sitting on the bench, what's the point? You know, if Ange is not going to play the loan player you're getting in, there's no point in getting him. You know, because the club that he's at normally want rid of him if they send him out on loan. You know, or they're looking to get rid of him. You know, so if he's not even going to get...
Isn't this their job though? Like, let me again. I'll play devil's advocate. I'll sit on in the middle here. Forget my own personal opinions. Isn't this what Johan Lang and his scouts and the recruitment team and the analysts? Isn't their job to have all this in place for when the transfer window opens, that we know what we're going to do? And this is why I don't believe that when we talk about Ange saying things like the club are working hard, I don't think Ange wants too many. If I'm brutally honest, I think he's only saying that now because of a few injuries.
Yeah.
When they're all fit, we've actually got a lot of players. I know that sounds mad. People are saying we've got a light squad. I think when fit, he's got a lot of footballers there and he doesn't know how to rotate. So I think we've gone into this window kind of being like, we're not going to do a lot. And it's only now that the injuries have built up throughout January that we're going, oh, shit, what should we do? But Mark, I'll ask you this. At the moment, if you are a player that wants to get their reputation back on track, are you joining this Tottenham team?
Certainly not if you're a defender, because it just makes you look silly. You know, it really does. And to be honest with you, I can't see anybody really that, you know, I mean, just the way we play football, you know, the horseshoe, side to side, it's actually quite boring, I think. You know, so I would say no. I would say, you know, I mean, defenders will just be made look silly and they'll be made look worse. And so that will affect their, you know, if they're on loan, that will affect their sell value. You know, so personally, no, I can't see anybody that want to come in and like prove that they're a good footballer.
Yeah, and we also haven't got a major tournament coming up in the summer, right? That people that may not have been playing and they're not gonna risk thinking, oh, if I go there, can I put myself in the, you know, put myself? It's gonna be there, but also that's gonna move and also say, well, I don't want to move. I might not be getting game time where I am, but am I going to get more game time? You know, taking that risk as well. So you've got that to kind of consider as well. Yeah. So.
It's Nations League, isn't it, this year? It's not a tournament, it's Nations League this summer.
Because the other thing is even if you are playing better than one of his first 11, from what I've seen with Ange, 9.9 times out of 10, he still plays first choice player. That's happened a couple of times, hasn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, when Spence came on, when I first see him come on the pitch this season, to me, he looked like he'd already played 10 games. Now, I'm not making it out that we got a spectacular player, nothing like that. But he landed on the pitch running. He was smooth. Whereas other players come on, you can see that they have not played for a while. And it was obvious that Spence was looking better than Porro and Udogie, whether it was because they were knackered or not or whatever else. And he still wouldn't do it.
Yep.
And that is why I blame this
Dropped him,
manager.
didn't he, Dan?
Yeah, straight
Ben
away.
got through that
is
game
why
against Coventry.
I
He got
blame
through
the
that
manager
game.
for a lot of the injuries. I mean, the idiot went out and put 2 semi-fit defenders literally the day after an injury up against Chelsea, and then people go and defend him. Well, the medical team said he was fit. Well, is Ange actually that thick that he can't work out that 2 players have only had 1 training session?
Did they agree with him? Because 2 medical directors at Tottenham have resigned.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
They've resigned.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
They refuse to work with him because they say something and he don't listen to them. 2 medical directors. That's more than
that's what I'm basically saying. Either way, even if he doesn't know nothing about it and the medical team did say they're fine, he should still have a clue that they're not 100% fit. Yeah. If he's been this great football manager for how many years? I mean, we can all see it on a basic, basically. I mean, that's like playing FIFA and your player gets injured and you haven't put your little card on him and that, and you go to play him the next game, he's half the player. It's common sense. And he went and slammed them both down.
Let me ask you, Dan, again, this is the thing for a lot of the people that back Ange and think he's good. Is his standing such in football that these players that everyone says just go and get, do they want to play for him? Like, you've got to factor in, they'll see his interviews, they'll see his style of football, they'll see his career path. Are top players, don't even have to be top players, are these players going to look and go, that's my move, I want to play for this guy?
I can't see why they would. And again, it goes back to a CV, basically. What CV has the man got to offer? Okay, people can go on the side where he's done more than you. Well, they're like, no shit, Sherlock. I gathered that one, yeah? But he's like 58, and this is the first time he's actually got in a big league. That tells you something on its own, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And everywhere else, he's been going about how he's won it. I'll still say that any one of us could go to Celtic, destroy half the team, and still win the bloody league because it's ranked lower than the American league, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And what attraction does he have as a manager in any means or manner? He's got no real CV that anyone would look up to him for. Like other managers you'd get out there. There's nothing to look up to as such. I don't see any pulling power that he's got. And then seeing the way he plays the football, refuses to adapt and everything else.
Dan, hang on, look at this. Look at Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa wants to leave Aston Villa to join Tottenham.
Yeah.
Look this Dan, look, this is where we're at. Look at the Matt. Think before you speak. He's just joined Villa a year ago. He's playing really well. He's just forced his way into the England squad. Right? Why on earth is Morgan Rogers going to leave Aston Villa for Tottenham Hotspur? Am I the only one who thinks that this is where we're at as a fan base now?
Hyperbolic, isn't it? It's hyperbolic.
Just get Cunha, Morgan Rogers, Hincapié from Leverkusen. Do these people not realise how shit we are?
We could have gone and got Skriniar on loan.
No, we couldn't. He didn't want a loan. We couldn't get.
Oh no, he went permanent, didn't he? No, sorry, my bad. No, yeah.
Mate, sorry. do you even believe, right, that Skriniar would have looked at our style of play, being the centre back he is, and would have gone, I want to go and play there? Or is he going to go and play for Jose, who will have him defending like a defender?
Properly.
Let's be brutally
I reckon
honest.
they've both got their pulling power. One of the pulling power we would have is it being the Premier League. But then Jose Mourinho, that's pulling power with it as well. Money-wise, he's
a 30-year-old centre-back. He's a 30-year-old centre-back, not known for his pace, that defends. No. Imagine him in the... what part of him and his agent will look at this
coming back
line
from the halfway line?
I want to play in that style.
If we're going to be honest...
Matt.
If we're going to be honest, what centre-back can play Angie's style, really? Apart from someone like Van der Ven. And how often do you get a defender that is faster than midfielders and strikers? You don't.
God.
I don't know what to say anymore. You know, when I call people trolls and they tell me they're not, but they come out with shit like this.
This was the first debate me and you ever had. Now, the bit I'll go with him on, we are a bigger club than Villa. Just because they're doing better than us doesn't mean they're bigger than us. We are bigger than Villa. But at the moment, they have got so much more to offer than us.
What are we bigger than them at?
We're a bigger club.
But But what does that mean?
Historically, we're a bigger club.
Worldwide,
Why
we're a bigger club.
why would you join 15th
Exactly.
place Tottenham when you're starting every week for a team that's possibly going to advance to the next stage of the Champions League? Because I don't know where are Villa in the Champions League? Are they in?
They're just out. If I'm not wrong, Ego, Villa are 9th. They're 9th. And
So
I think
if they win their last game, there's a very good chance.
Celtic at home, isn't it?
If they win their next game, they will be advancing to the next stage of the and if we win the Europa League, we barely got past Hoffenheim yesterday.
Exactly. Villa have got more pulling power than we have at this moment in time. They've been more consistent over the past, let's say 2 years now. Is it 2 years, 3 years?
3, yeah. Well, they're a better run club than us.
Yes, but we are richer than them. And worldwide, we are significantly bigger than Aston Villa. But that's not going to pull them in there if we're not doing nothing in the league.
Hang on. But when we say we're richer than them, in terms of financial figures, yes. But in terms of them putting their money where their mouth is as a football club, no.
And that's not what I was saying. I didn't say that. I was saying we are a richer club. We are a bigger club. But we don't use it like we always say. Villa, at the moment, they're in a better position than we are. They've been stable for the past 3 years, working their way up there. Okay, league's been a bit tricky for them this year, but they're in the Champions League for the first time in God knows how long. At the moment, they've got more pulling power than us.
The league's a bit tricky. They're 2 points off a Champions League place. Like, this is the thing. When you look at Aston Villa, right? I've said this for years about Aston Villa. What they did is when they sold Jack Grealish, they then used that money really wisely and started building a squad.
Yeah.
Yes, they made a mistake with Gerrard and then quickly fixed it. Bought in Unai Emery, and for 3 years, look how consistent as a football club they've been. And this is the thing. When we talk about this, is where I make you wrong sometimes, Dan. When we talk about purely money, first of all, Aston Villa aren't that bad payers.
No,
Second of all, their consistency over 3 years shows you. If I'm a player right now, Villa or Spurs, what on earth is making me join Tottenham? Now, that's new players. Hang on, that's new players. What this guy was suggesting was we go and take one of Aston Villa's best players, Morgan Rogers, and go, Morgan, do you fancy leaving Aston Villa, where you play week in, week out, where you're starting to get good numbers, at that young age? You want to leave Aston Villa, come and join Tottenham Hotspur? Yeah, we're 15th in the league. You're 2 points off Champions League. You're in the Champions League right now. I don't see what about us for years now has been bigger than Aston Villa. I don't know what's bigger.
It depends what you want to call a bigger club, doesn't it? It depends how you look on a bigger club. We've got more support than them. We bring in more money than them. Technically, we are a bigger club. We've been in the Premier League, one of the only ones not to get relegated. They've been in and out of it. We are a bigger club than Villa. I won't back off. They've won
the Champions League. We haven't.
Okay.
They've won more leagues.
So Nottingham Forest and Villa are better than Arsenal, bigger than Arsenal.
No, hang on. But I said I didn't say. Yeah, but Arsenal were a serial winning. They haven't
won the Champions League.
Sure, but they're a serial winning team that win the league, the cup. Arsenal have won so much. Tottenham win nothing.
I think Villa have
but
only
if you were to go worldwide, we are bigger than Villa.
One less trophy than Tottenham. I think Tottenham have 26 trophies. Tottenham have won 26 trophies in their history. I think Villa have only won one less. So if Villa did win another trophy, which is possible, and still win the FA Cup.
What do you call a big club then?
Team that wins more trophies. Depends which.
For me, what's the pull? Like, we're talking about bigger club, but what does that mean? Like, all right, we've got more fans worldwide. Whoopity-doo.
So we're bigger. No, I didn't say it would do. I just said we are a bigger club.
And here's the thing. As a footballer right now, do you think if a footballer's going to look at Tottenham and Villa, they're going to go, oh, they've got way more fans worldwide? Or are they going to go, hang on, look at what Villa have done in the last 3 years. Look at the trajectory of Aston Villa. So I ask the question, what's the pull to join Tottenham over Villa right now?
To be honest,
at the start, I said there isn't. I just said we are a bigger club than Villa, because that's like saying Nottingham Forest finished third, and then someone picks Nottingham Forest over Villa, who finished fifth, because Nottingham Forest are in the Champions League. Now, that's the only pulling power they had. Technically,
but
we
doing it
are
for
a
one
significantly
season
bigger
is
club
slightly
than
different.
Villa. But Villa have got more attraction than us at the moment because they're playing better. They put better wages down, as far as I know, and they're in the Champions League. They've got a lot more to offer than we have. As all I agreed with the fellow on is we are a bigger club. And we are a bigger club because otherwise us lot wouldn't keep moaning and whinging and going on about it.
It's that usual saying, isn't it? It's not the size of the dog of the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And people are going to go for the dog that's got more fight in it. And Villa
I agree.
are certainly a dog with more fight in them.
Yeah.
I just think, listen, whether we're talking about what is a bigger club, I've heard this debate about Tottenham for so many years that at the point, I don't know what we're debating, how big we are. I genuinely don't know anymore. I think we're bigger from everything off the pitch. In terms of being a football club, Aston Villa are a better football club than Tottenham. That's the difference for me right now.
Oh, but that shut up.
Yeah, they're run better. They're definitely run better. But if
They're
you was
run
to go
better.
round-
They're run better. They've got better owners. Their director of football is brilliant. They've got better players than us. Their manager is 10 times the manager that we've got. Everything for Villa, you'd look at and go, this is a good club to be at. Now, obviously, if you want to go to an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a City, sure. But next level down, I think you're looking at Villa and going, this is a good club to be at. I'm looking at Spurs going, are we a good club for a Morgan Rogers? Right. So this all started with Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa. Right. Just go and get Morgan Rogers. Why on earth would he leave Aston Villa for Tottenham Hotspur? Why?
Has he got steel hamstrings?
His hamstrings probably
that's
were.
half the problem. We just have not got no attraction at the moment unless we're paid double the wages. And that is that. There's
By the way,
significant clubs out there that we
they've
are
got
bigger
12
than.
players,
but
Dan.
Yeah.
They've got 12 players on over 100 grand a week. So they're paying better than us. They're better than us in the league. They're better than us over the last 3 years. They've got better director of football. Their structure's better. Their manager's better. For me,
Doesn't mean they're a bigger club.
I just feel like that doesn't mean anything though. Like, I don't know what it means.
That's
Okay.
Vanity over reality.
Who's a bigger club, Man U or Man City?
Man United are a bigger club than Man City,
but they've been shit for 10 years.
But that's not. But
again,
that's my
vanity.
point.
It's vanity.
That's what I'm saying. A big club.
But
it depends how you want to look at it. We're looking at it.
Who are people going to join, Man City or Man United?
Man City.
At the moment, Man City.
Right.
Man
So
City
all of this, who's a bigger club? AC Milan or Inter Milan? Who are you joining?
That one's very 50-50. You can say in the past, you can say in the past 20 years Inter, you can say in the past 20 years before that it was AC. But it depends what you want to look at on a bigger club. If you want to as a football club run,
what players are going to join Tottenham instead of Villa? I had this debate 2 years ago with everyone, and I was told Villa are crap. Villa had one lucky season.
No, it was the first debate me and you ever had.
We've got better players than Villa, I heard. This year, Emery's not as good as Ange, but how comes Villa now 3 seasons in a row, better than us, better coached, Champions League football now? Look at Aston Villa this window. Straight out. Boom, boom. 2 players straight into the squad. Right? Villa are a better football club than Tottenham at the moment. They have been for the last 3 years.
On the last aspect of Celtic are apparently a bigger club than Tottenham. They've won a European Cup. They've won a lot more trophies than us because they're in a minnow league. Angepostecoglou couldn't leave Celtic quick enough to come to the bright lights of Tottenham. He couldn't leave them quick enough. If we went by a bigger club, Celtic would have the best managers in the world because they're a massive club. Globally, Celtic are an enormous football club. But they've got Brendan Rodgers, who was relegated by who relegated Leicester. That's the pool of manager. If you went to Brendan Rodgers tomorrow and said, "Do you want to come and manage Tottenham?" He's packing his bags within 5 minutes. He's like, "Come on, then." He's leaving immediately. So the big club factor doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
I disagree with you. No, I disagree. So are you saying
evidence?
So you're saying that other players won't want to go to Man U because of history to what they want to become again?
It's recency bias, Stan. It's recency bias.
But not everyone looks at it the same way. I still think Man U has a big pulling power by their name.
No top
than
players
anything.
going to go to Man United at the moment.
Liverpool didn't win the league for 30 years. Yes, they won other things, but they didn't win the league for 30 years.
Yeah,
and
but that's the
still
thing.
attract
But you
everyone
said it.
when they didn't.
But Liverpool
when they
weren't
didn't
buying.
win
But they
nothing.
were winning. But Dan,
Liverpool
you've
weren't
killed
buying
your own
top players.
argument. They were winning Champions Leagues, Europa Leagues, cups. There's a difference.
They went a
between
significant amount of time without winning anything, didn't they? They went
Did
a good
they?
8. Was it 7 years, 8 years, where they weren't fighting it as much as the rest? What I'm trying to say is, as all I said with a bigger club, is we have got the bigger name. This is why we have got the because if we're that much smaller, then why is anyone even saying we should be doing better than what we are? We should be in 4th place, 7th place. That's all I mean by a bigger club. A bigger club is someone who is more supported worldwide, basically.
Sure,
that is
but-
how I look at it. Whereas if you go by trophies,
Well, let's not go by that. We'll be down in the
Even if we
bottom.
go by trophies. Look at Aston Villa. Look at their history.
Yeah.
I just don't get. Again, I keep hearing the word bigger club. I don't know what it means. Like I genuinely don't know what it means when it comes to two teams like Villa and Spurs. We're going bigger
Okay.
club. Both teams have massively underachieved, right?
yeah.
For years and years and years. But they are more attractive than Tottenham Hotspur
Yeah.
right now.
It doesn't mean they're a bigger club. Man
I
City are
think-
more
yeah,
attractive than Man U,
Dan,
and
I
Man
don't
U are
care
still a
because
bigger club.
This is a childish vanity saying, isn't it? We're bigger than them.
you
does it
might
mean?
not, you might not care, but other people do care.
I
We are a
think
bigger
we,
club than Villa.
But Dan, okay, but hang on. I care about what can we do as a football club? What does that mean?
Mhm.
Okay, Spurs are a bigger club than Aston Villa. Right. What
But we're
does that
doing
do
crap
to
at the
help us?
moment. But we're doing crap at the moment.
Hang on, no, that's not what I asked. What does that do to help us?
As in
What
what?
does it
As
do?
in what way?
Just to say we're bigger. What does it mean?
I
I
think we
didn't
all
say it
knocked
did
Spurs
anything.
up a rung or two.
I
because
think you've taken
we
it
support them.
totally out of context what I was saying. I was just agreeing with the fella. We are a bigger club. That's all.
But,
But
okay,
we haven't
I'm
got more
asking
attraction.
I'm asking at what? We don't buy better players. We don't win more trophies.
So
We don't win league titles. We don't win European competitions. Why are we a bigger club? At what? Like what is
we
this?
are a bigger
bigger-
football club.
But at
We
what?
are a bigger football club.
at
We are
what?
more known because we're
The-
more
the-
supported
we've got to-
worldwide.
We've got to sort of why does making a bigger it is a fact. What he's saying is true from a
Sure,
certain,
worldwide,
from a
we know,
certain
but what
point of
does
view.
that,
It
like,
is true.
What
But
does
the
it mean?
question is, what does that do for my client that you're a bigger football club? What does it do for my client?
I didn't argue that it done anything. As all I said is we
Well,
are a
I
bigger
don't know what it
club.
means.
And then what I said, and then
don't know
what I
what it
said
means
after
then.
is bigger club is when another club is when Man United are bigger than another club. When they're bigger than Man City, which they are. But Man City
Sure.
have got all the pulling power now. But Man U
Sure.
are still a bigger club. Agreed? Right. We are still a
Agreed.
bigger club than Villa.
I just think it's a bit of a misnomer, to be honest.
Yeah,
think
I
it's a
do.
bit-
I only
think
agreed
it's
with
a
something
bit of
the
a
fella
misnomer,
said.
because at the end of the day,
Don't know what
if
it means.
both Man City
Well, you
and
do
Man
know what it
United-
means because you just said Man U are bigger than City, so you do know what
Yes.
it means.
But when we're talking about Man United, we're talking about a global dynasty of how many
Mhm.
leagues, Champions Leagues, world-class players. When you're talking about Tottenham being a bigger club than a team that are sitting above us, that have won as many trophies in their history as we have, won more
For free,
league
for
titles.
three years.
That's where
Remember,
it's where,
that's just recently. They have only just recently in the past
The-
5,
the
6
But
years.
that's not
come
the
out
only
of
thing I said, Dan,
Champions
the
was
League.
it?
question to end the
But Dan,
debate,
that's not-
guys.
hang on, Ben. That's not the only thing I said. I said, look at their history. They've won more league titles than we have. They've won more
Mhm.
league cups than we have.
No,
They've
you're
Okay,
won
right.
the European.
are Everton
Well-
bigger club than us?
I don't think Everton are a massive club that are failing like us.
Yeah, we're failing. And why are we failing? Because we should be doing better because we're a bigger club than what we're doing. Are Everton a bigger club than us?
They're a more historic club than we
I
are.
don't care about historic. Are they a bigger club?
But if you're
Okay,
talking about
Jake,
if you're
at the
talking about
moment.
bigger clubs, then you're talking history, because history.
If
is a
you're
big
not
fact.
talking, see, Dan, you've
Are
contradicted
they a
yourself
bigger
here.
club?
No, you've contradicted yourself here.
No.
When it comes
Are
to
they a
Everton,
bigger club?
when it comes to Everton, I don't care about history. When it comes to Spurs, it's but Villa have only been above us for 3 years, so you do care
No,
about
that was
history.
something I mentioned. No, that was something I just mentioned on very recent. Everton then would be a bigger club than us because they've won the league, what, 8?
9 times.
Everton are a
9
big
times.
club. Like
I
I
us.
didn't say they're not.
Terrible.
I didn't say they're not. I didn't say
87
Villa are
the
not a
last
big
time
club.
Everton won it.
So is history
Yeah.
important or not?
When you go down in
The
structure,
question to
what
end the
makes
debate,
name of
guys,
your club.
is if Manchester United and Man City are going for a player, they give exactly the same amount of wages, the same
Man
amount
City.
of playing time. You're going for Man City. So history means cool. It's recency bias. What is happening in the here and now?
Right.
And I
You go
believe,
to the best
And we're not
football
more
team.
attractive or bigger than Villa
At the end,
right
what
now.
you say, Dan, is
That's what I said.
footballers are mercenaries. They are going to the bigger team at the
Yeah.
time.
They go where the
That's
money
the
is.
football
Of course
team.
they do.
and I believe,
So
and
I'll
I
go
believe
back to
a
the
lot of
original
us,
point.
and I believe a
Why-
lot of us, a
Sorry,
lot
go
of us put Tottenham on up a peg or
Pedestal,
two
yeah,
because it's
correct.
who we support.
I agree.
So when they go, okay then. So when a club is gone by size, when they put a club together basically, and they say the 10 biggest clubs in the world, what makes them the 10 biggest clubs in the world?
It
I don't
depends
know.
what
I'm
you wanna
asking
look
you.
at. It depends what you
Well,
want to
no,
look at. I think it all depends. Do we want to measure this by 5 years, 10 years, 15
I
years,
don't
20
know.
years? At
I'm
the
just
end
saying,
of the day,
write it down right now and say,
Sure.
what are the 10 biggest clubs in the world?
but Dan, the biggest clubs in the world for me are the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the
Oh, without
Bayern
a
Munich,
doubt. Of course they are.
right?
We all
the
know that.
Man U's. Chelsea are now up there, Man City,
Mm-hmm.
Milan, Juventus. These are the big giants of football.
I
When we
agree.
go down into the next echelon and we're going to do, we're bigger than you, we're bigger than you. I don't think any of that shit means anything when it comes to if Spurs and Villa both go for a footballer. I'm asking this question. Who is more attractive right now? We had this talk 2 years ago. I had this talk with you, then I had it with Sean. Since then, Villa have done nearly everything right that they've done, and we've done nearly everything wrong, making us less attractive to footballers, in my opinion. Who are you going to go and play for?
But I haven't
Emery?
debated none of that with you.
No,
I haven't
know,
said
but-
any of it.
I know, but who are footballers going to want to play for right now? Emery or Angepostecoglou?
Of course they want to go Emery.
Right. Who's
But I
going in
didn't
an
argue
upward
none of that.
trajectory? Hang on. Who's going in an upward trajectory? Tottenham
You don't
or
have to
Aston
tell
Villa?
me none of this. I didn't debate none of this with you or
So what
argue
are
any
we
of it or
bigger
make
than
you
them at?
one.
I just don't
They're
get how a
better
team
than
who's
us
won
and they're
nothing
better.
for 17 years can sit here and go, but we're bigger than them. What? Like,
Okay, but then you can go that and say that about a lot of
I'm
things.
going to jump. I'll catch you all later
See you
at 2
later, mate.
p.m. Great
2
debate, as
o'clock.
always.
See you
2
later.
o'clock. Is it 2 o'clock, Ben?
Yeah.
Coffee time?
2 p.m. 2 p.m.
By the
See
way,
you then.
big up, Ben. By the way, I'm not sitting here saying Villa are a bigger club than Spurs. I'm sitting here saying none of this shit is all superficial. It don't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. And the original point was this guy, Matt, said, go and get
And I didn't
Morgan
say it
Rogers from
did.
Aston Villa. My first point is, why is Morgan Rogers going to leave Aston Villa? First of all, what would Villa I'm not debating you on this, Dan. What are Aston Villa going to charge us for Morgan Rogers to even entertain it? 100, 90, 80?
Daniel Levy's not paying it, whatever it is.
Right. Whatever it is, Daniel Levy's not paying it.
Yeah.
Second of all, he's on 75 grand a week. So he's going to turn around. His agent's going to go, yeah, I've got to double it. Right. Third of all, his agent's going to go, well, hang on, at the moment, Aston Villa, we're 2 points off Champions League. We're in the Champions League proper. Villa are going in an upward trajectory the last few years. I see what we're building. We've got a good manager. Please tell me why I'm going to Spurs. Not you, Dan, but this Matt guy said his answer was because we're bigger. My answer is the players and the agent aren't going to go, oh my God, it's Tottenham.
As all I agreed with him on,
I know,
is we are a bigger club, but it doesn't mean we're going to have the pulling power. I think this is where some people have misunderstood what I've said. We are a bigger club than Aston Villa. End of. They have got more pulling power than us.
The only thing that'd pull him to Tottenham is a tour around the stadium and a 5-star hotel in the training ground. Because the facilities there are marvelous.
Nothing.
No, apart from that, there's nothing.
Let's agree to disagree on this whole bigger thing. I just think it's all, I don't think it means anything at this level. I think it means something when you are the big clubs. I don't think it means anything when we're debating which team that hasn't achieved for 15, 20 years is better.
I did not once mention that Villa are not more attractive than us or nothing like that.
I know you didn't. So I'll go back to my point then. Well, I'll ask you and everyone in the chat. Matt, this guy Matt said, go and get Morgan Rogers. Everyone in the chat, who believes Morgan Rogers would want to leave Tottenham Hotspur to come and play, want to leave Villa to come and play for Tottenham Hotspur? That's my That's my question to you
Why?
guys.
Why would he? He's in the Champions League at the moment. He's getting game time and that.
Right.
So why would he?
Right. So that was my original question. Not before me and you got in a debate about something else, Dan. My original question was, why is anybody going to leave Aston Villa if they're? By the way, this isn't a squad player for Aston Villa. This guy plays.
This guy's plays 3/4 of the time, doesn't he?
Right. He's in their team. He's playing Champions League. So my question is to everybody is saying the same thing. No. Why would he leave? But this is what I mean. When people like Matt come into your chat and we go, right, give me names of who we should sign. Morgan Rogers. Why? Cunha. Well, if Cunha goes available, I'll ask you two on the panel. If Cunha becomes available on this market, first of all, we know he's going to cost a bomb. Second of all, do we believe that we're going to be the only club that go in for Matheus Cunha?
Definitely not.
He'll go Arsenal, right?
Others would go for him.
Right. And
there'll be a list as long as you are.
Right. And this is my point. When people just throw names into the mix, I don't think they actually sit there and think, is this doable? Like, we can all play Football Manager, but Matheus Cunha, Tottenham, Forest want him. I'm not saying Forest are big up for him. I said Tottenham want him, Forest want him, Arsenal want him. Apparently City want him. Do we truly believe that of those clubs he's going to go at Tottenham?
No.
It's just not.
But we should still try. If you don't try, you don't get.
Sure, but it wouldn't be trying to the club, would it? We'd be speaking to his agent and going, has he got any interest in joining Tottenham? And the
then
question,
as soon as he says no, you go look elsewhere.
Sure. And But Dan, we may have done that. No one has any idea if that happens. There's going to be a million times that happens in transfer windows where clubs approach an agent and go, look, before we go public, before we put in a bid, is this player available? Yes. Does he want to join? He's got no interest in joining your club. Or, you know what? Look, he would. But, by the way, Arsenal want him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not competing with that, right?
We don't pay the wages either. This is where we do ourselves absolutely no favors at all. And the situation we have now got ourselves into, who would want to play there?
No. What I said, I mean, we wouldn't even compete with Arsenal for the wages, let alone Man City.
Ash, absolutely. I mean, look, we offered Skip to Wolves. By the way, what I've heard from people at the club is that we offered Skip to Wolves because Wolves were interested in Skip. But the moment Chelsea came in, apparently, right, guys, no one...
Money on the table, wasn't it?
Apparently, the moment Chelsea came in, let's be honest, they'll put the money on the table, but who's more attractive to go and join, Tottenham or Chelsea? It is Chelsea. And this is the problem. We keep backing a manager that's got us so low down in the league. People keep saying, don't worry, it will change, it will change. Footballers, Dan, we know this. They're going to look at this and go, God, they're a mess. Why am I going there?
Yeah.
You knew Neto would join Chelsea over Tottenham, right? We all know
of course
this.
They would. The only two we're going to attract at the moment is maybe a young player who might want to use this as a stepping stone.
Agreed.
Or an older player like Skriniar, who's like 30, who just wants some game time, whatever. I don't think we're not going to attract anybody in their prime or anything like that.
No, which is wrong, really.
One way or another, we'd be a stepping stone, whether it was to just get more game time or to just tap up towards the end of a career or to use it as a stepping stone at the start. At this moment in time, we're probably one of the bottom 4 teams that you would want to go to in the Premiership. But the fact of who Tottenham are or who Tottenham should be puts it in even more of a situation because we are a bigger club than be 15th. Because we are a better club than that to be 15th. It's just as a football club, we are just run so piss poor as a football club. It's half the reason why we're down there.
Yeah, because you notice, even going back when we signed Rafa van der Vaart, he was, he just started to go over, hadn't he? He wasn't.
He'd lost his place.
He wasn't really at the peak of his powers, was he? You know, and all the rest of the world-class players. Yeah, and all the rest of the world-class players that has been in our club, we produced them. Kane, Gareth Bale, Modric. Modric wasn't much before he come to us. You know what I mean? They've got to that world class stage when they're here. It's not because we bought them in. You know, they've sort of done it coming up from being the youngsters, or they were sort of all right, but then they've sort of risen. We have never, ever. The last world class player that we bought was Klinsmann at the peak of their powers.
Yep.
At the peak of their powers.
I completely agree with you. Look, I think sometimes we have to know who we are, right? But what we used to do and what we used to be very good at is finding players that were good but weren't world class and developing them. We're not even good at that anymore. You look what we did with Aaron Lennon, with Jermaine Defoe, Tommy Huddleston, Dawson, Berbatov, Dele Alli, right? We Danny Rose, Carl Walker, right? You look at all these players throughout that period where we bought these players, we developed them. I don't ever remember us being 15th, and I don't ever remember no players being coached. And just quickly, this is what Anne just said. And again, I just can't get with this guy, right? Anne just said this. This is Angepostecoglou on what's going wrong at Spurs. Says it's just injuries, right? Straight away, I would have asked him, well, hang on, Ange, what about before the injuries? Why were you shit before the injuries? Why was this our worst start to a season before that? Anyway, he said, I mean, you can walk outside and say, geez, it's really bright, and say to yourself, maybe it's not the sun. But it is the sun, mate, which we've just got injuries. You can do a million investigations and talk to anonymous sources. You don't need to talk to them. You can talk to me. Every decision that is made from me. I'm responsible for this. If you want a head on a stick, take mine. Now listen to this. This is where this is where he loves his minions like Matt. You ready? This sentence here. But I am absolutely 100% confident that we are in a better place as a football club today than when I started. And we've just had our worst year in 30, and he said we're in a better place as a football club. Let that sink in.
No, but he is just Levy's shield. That's all he is. He's taken all the blame himself. But that is why this is some sort of quotes that I believe why Daniel hasn't sacked him. Because he's just taken all the blame on himself. You know, it's all me. That's what you said, right? It's all my responsibility. It's all me. You know, so that's why Daniel still got him here. Because he knows.
For sure.
Because he knows that as soon as he gets rid of him, all the fingers in the stadium are going to be pointing in the West Stand at him.
Mate, absolutely. Matt said, seems anyone else just there is an excuse. It's not an excuse, Matt. There are reasons. For example, let me have a look. I love this guy, Matt. Let me have a look at your last couple of posts. Okay, first and foremost, Adeyemi. For me, I agree. A player like Adeyemi is definitely a player that Spurs should be looking at and going, yeah, let's get him. Now, who is Adeyemi in talks with right now? Anyone know who he's in talks with? He's in contract talks with Napoli, right? I hate to break it to you, Matt. You ain't joining Tottenham over Napoli. Napoli are in a title race, right? You are not joining Tottenham over Napoli. I'm sorry if anyone disagrees with me. You're not, right? And the other team that we're interested in him, by the way, I think was it Chelsea that were looking at Adeyemi and Napoli. Kirkes for me, agreed. But Matt, again, Kirkes, ask yourself the question. He is going to say, but you've got Udogie. When Udogie's fit, am I playing week in, week out? Secondly, lots of rumours that Liverpool are taking him in the summer to replace Robertson. Dunk, if I'm not wrong, tell me, Mark and Dan, isn't he the captain of Brighton? If I'm not wrong.
I don't know if he's the captain.
Right, if someone can find that in the chat for me. I'm pretty sure that Dunk is the captain of Brighton who plays week in, week out for a team that are better than us, right? Why is he going to join and be told he's going to sit on a bench behind Van der Ven and Romero? He's captain of Brighton. If I'm not wrong, somebody will probably tell me I'm wrong. But I can't think who else would be captain at Brighton. Anybody? Yes, he is. He's the captain of Brighton, right? He's the captain. So you want to go and take Brighton's captain who starts every game for Brighton, right? And we're going to say, well, when Van der Ven and Romero are fit, mate, you're going to be on the bench. Right. So again, let that sink in. Right. Visser is someone definitely we should be looking at. 100% we should be looking at a player like Visser. Back to Mark's point, how much is Visser going to cost? How much are Brentford going to say we want for Visser? Sure,
Yeah.
I agree with you, right? Robinson, I refer you guys, Robinson of Fulham, I refer you to Kirkes. Anthony Robinson plays every single game for Fulham for a team that are 9 points above us. He plays week in, week out. He'll ask that question again, surely, won't he? When Adogie's fit, how much football am I playing? Right? Matoma, agreed. How much is Matoma going to cost? How much? I'm asking Dan, Mark. How much are they going to charge for Matoma?
Probably more than Levy will pay.
60, 70?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
50, 60, something along those lines.
And if you think Daniel Levy's doing £60 million in a transfer window,
chance.
when Brighton will go, nah, you've seen how Brighton operate. Brighton will turn around and go, you want him, pay us 80 million. Right? Semenyo, I agree with. Semenyo all day long. I agree with you on Semenyo. I agree with you on Visser. The others, you have to ask this the question. And again, Matt, what about Kluivert? Kluivert is their only fit striker. They've lost Unal, right? And who did they replace Solanke with? Oh,
who's that? Bournemouth. I mean,
Evan
Kluivert,
Nilsson.
he's not. Kluivert
Evan-
isn't even a striker, is he?
he's not. But right
No.
now, do you think
But
they've
that's what
lost
they're having
Evan
to use
Nilsson
him
and
as.
Unal? They've got 10 injuries. You think that Bournemouth are going to go, yeah, go on then. Yeah, go on. Take Kluivert as well. Matt, you're not applying logic to this. Yes, you can go and try and get players, but you have to look at the other club. Why are they going to sell at this point? How much are they going to want for that player? And the difference is a club like Man United, like Chelsea will go, right, we've offered 40. Yeah, well, we're not letting him go for 55, 60. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. We want 200 grand a week. Boom. Tottenham won't do that. Daniel Levy will haggle and haggle and haggle. This is what you don't get, Matt. So again, do I make it right? And Dan, me and you have had this conversation loads. Do I make it right that Levy does this? No.
No.
But this is who he is. And you know,
Who is it that we bought and Daniel Levy had to go and sort it out? And had to go, was it Porro? Porro.
Yeah.
We spent 30 days trying to get him. And in the end, Daniel was haggling and probably arguing over 50p or something that he had to go over himself and get it done. You know, and that took the whole of January to sort that out. Where in all fairness, if he just
he wasn't going to do it. And then when it basically come to the point that people were starting to kick up a bit of stink about it and that, then he basically went and made sure he got the job done.
Yeah. But the trouble is, no, I've heard this a lot. The trouble is when there's negotiations with Tottenham, with Daniel, there's always got to be a winner and a loser. It's not like a normal business where you negotiate between the two and both parties walk away sort of happy. You know, all right, we had to knock the price down, but you had to come up a bit. So you meet in the middle, everyone's happy, and you walk away. No, with Daniel, there's got to be a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
And he's got to be the winner all the time. This is why a lot of the players we go for, the chairman on the other end of the phone won't even speak to him.
No.
But also the thing we're forgetting here, gents, is, you know, you've got to look, some of these players that people are mentioning won't fit what we do.
No.
Like, for example, when we're talking about Lewis Dunk, I like Lewis Dunk, by the way. I think Lewis Dunk's he's one of those, he'll retire and you go, good career, that lad. Never the best, never the worst, good career, solid Premier League defender, brings the ball out, yeah, captains well, gives us 7 out of 10 every game. Would you guys agree with that as an assessment?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing amazing. Why is Lewis Dunk at his age going to join and play Ange's tactics? He can't run, and we're going to go, come and play in this high line.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like we're not. It's not just Matt, by the way. I know I pick on him a lot. He's a good sport and he's in the chat. But you've got to look and think sometimes, does the player want to come? Is it the right fit? are the club open to selling the player? Yeah, because of their circumstances. Like right now, if you have a look right now, people just go and get Delap from Ipswich. Ipswich will say, hang on, we're in a fucking relegation battle.
Yeah.
Why am I going to sell my top goal scorer when we've got 4 months left, 16 games to save our bacon? Why would we sell our top goal scorer? Yeah, you can give me 40 million, 50 million from him, but that doesn't really mean anything if we get relegated back to the Championship.
Exactly. It's the same. It's like what I was saying to you earlier, basically, yeah? There's a lot of clubs out there. I'm not going to go into the thing again that we are bigger clubs than them, but we just have no pulling power whatsoever. I mean, we don't, not unless we put the money on the table, because we can't really go on local history as such. If you want to go on, well, like history back into the 60s, we've got some very good history. I mean, what was it? Was we the first English team to get a UEFA Cup or whatever?
European trophy, any European trophy.
Yeah, that's all 60, 70 years ago. But it all goes on the point structure. But the thing is, what does that do for you now? Nothing. What have we done in 20, 25 years? Nothing. We do not even use the other thing we could use to our advantage, and that is the money. We don't even pay the wages. If we would just pay the wages up there and show that we've got intentions of going somewhere, I don't think it'd take us too long to get significantly further up there. But we don't do it.
This would have been a decent little signing, wouldn't it? Kyogo for 10 million, right? I'm not saying for the next 5-10 years he's your number one, but in terms of having a squad and having more forward options, wouldn't Kyogo for 10 million have been knows Ange, played with Ange's system before? Wouldn't that have been that would have been the sort of January signing where you go, makes sense, that sensible, sensible little signing. Not
for 10 million,
but a 10 million striker, knows Ange, plays, scores goals.
Well, for 10 million, that's more in our ballpark, to be honest.
And again, and look, I mean, Matt, but where you completely undo yourself, my man, is why are a poor City buying a top striker in Man City don't play to our rules. Matt, what are you talking about? Man City have gone to God, I always forget where my moosh come from. Stuttgart, right? Am I right? Frankfurt, Stuttgart? Which one? Anybody in the chat?
It was one of them.
One of them. Frankfurt, Stuttgart.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat quickly so my trail of thought's going to go. Somebody in the chat, type the word in. Ash, you're in the chat. You always get things right. So they've gone to the German club, right? They've gone to Frankfurt. Thank you. It was. So they've gone to Frankfurt and gone 50 million, whatever. Frankfurt have gone, you ain't having him for that. They end up paying 75 million pounds for him, or euros, whatever. Man City aren't Spurs. There's a huge difference. We can't say, well, City have done it. Why can't we?
Well, let's just say allegedly 115 times. There's different rules for Man City and us. 115 times or whatever it is.
There's going to be no sanctions for them. The way they're spending money, I'm pretty sure they know they're going to get a slap on the wrist. It will not be relegation. It will be
What will probably happen?
I think
is
they'll
this?
be all right.
But to be honest, if I was Nottingham Forest and whoever else got points deducted, I'd kick right off about it.
Yeah, Man City have already written this season off, I reckon. Man City, if they're going to get 10, 20 points deducted, even 30, they're still going to stay up, for God's sake. They don't really care. I reckon Pep's already put that one aside. He's already getting players in and getting ready to get players out for next season. And if they ain't necessarily going to go for next season, they're going to definitely want to go for the season after, which will be his last one. They're already ahead of themselves. They're already getting the players out, getting players in they want and everything. They've written off this season, I think. If it turns up that all of a sudden they go on a 15-win winning streak, which we all know City can, but I think he's already pushed this season apart and he's getting ready for the next one.
I agree. I completely agree with you on that front, Dan. And this is the thing. After winning 4 in a row, you can kind of get away with that, can't you? You can turn around and go, all right, look, we've not been great. We've won 4 titles in a row. Look at the squad I'm building for next season. Look, guys and girls, I get it, right? I get that we all want to go and buy top players. I get it. But it shouldn't just be now him. This is what our scouting team, this is what Lang, this is what Ange, this is what Levy, these components of our club should have been talking about this for months, right? Now, it all depends on who you speak to. Some people are saying, well, Ange don't want these players. Ange comes out and says, I don't want players in this position. Other people are saying it's Levy and he's not doing this. What I do know, guys, whichever side of the fence you fall on, it's a shit show as normal at Tottenham. Whether we want to blame Ange, Levy, Lang, it's a shit show. There's no organisation. There's no collaboration. It's just a shit show.
I think the biggest joke of it is, I think pretty much every Spurs supporter I know got it wrong. And that was because there was a lot on the chat saying that we was going to be fighting for second and third, which I thought was comical from day one. I was one of the more negative ones that said we'll be seventh if we're lucky. I reckon eighth. And I think you said round about seventh, Mark.
Yeah, I said something around there.
And still, if I remember right, said roughly the same sort of thing. Yeah. And we're in 15th. And we could quite easily finish in 13th to 17th, the way we're going. I think literally every Spurs supporter got that wrong. I didn't see it coming this bad.
But Dan, this is why for me, and I don't know what you guys think about this, this is why for me, when we're sitting there and we can see us falling down the table month on month, when fans like us, Dan, are sitting there going, stop the rot, you've got to cut this off with the manager, other people are sitting there going, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, then going, oh, where are the signings? You have to ask yourself the question, why are players going, good players that make us better, are going to be affected, right, guys, by us being 15th in the table. Yeah. And it's not that we're 15th, right? It's not that we're 15th and 3 points off the top half of the table. We're 9 points off the top half of the table. So someone said in the chat earlier, so it's awful. Someone said in the chat earlier, if you're a player, you're going to look and go, well, hang on, their league season's done. I'm cup tied. Most players are going to be cup tied for FA Cup and League Cup, right? You're looking at it going, right, so all our hopes are going on the Europa League, and will I be a first-team player?
Yeah.
Right? I know people don't. I know people like Matt think it's Football Manager. It's not. It's not Football Manager. No. Players like Mbeumo, for example, his agent. If Spurs go in and bid, brilliant. Go in and bid and get him. Other clubs will bid and get him as well. And questions will be asked. What are you paying me? The obvious one, right? What are you paying me? What are you doing as a club for ambition? Players like Emil
That's
Smith
the other thing. We show no ambition. No ambition at all. That is what Spurs do not show ambition.
Emil Smith's Rowe agent was on Sky Sports a month or so back. And he was given they were asking him, like, how does it work from a scout's perspective in a signing? And when he broke it down, there's a million facets into what happens, right? He said he said fans think you just put in a bid. He said the amount that goes on behind the scenes, he said, first of all, they come to me. They don't go to the club. They don't ask the club if he's available. They ask me. I'm his agent. Yeah. We then go to the club and go, just so you know, so-and-so has approached us. They're going to make a formal approach to you because we've said we would blah, 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 blah. What Emil Smith Rowe agent said was, by the way, he represents other people, not just Emil Smith Rowe, was one of the things you'll ask is, where am I leaving? Why am I leaving? And what's the upside to where I'm going next? So are they playing me? Right? Are they playing me? What's their ambition? Am I joining a club that has a plan moving forward? And he said, when he went to Fulham, they guaranteed him, you're playing. Right? First of all, he said, you're playing. Second of all, he said, they're going to try and continue to grow this. But he said, Emil's not silly. He was saying he understands what the shelf life is for a club like Fulham because there are much bigger clubs out there. But this is the funny thing, right? Our fans just go, just sign him. Sure. So, Dan, I'm on Mbeumo, right? Surely the first thing I'm going to ask is, all right, you're buying me. What's the plan? What's the club's plan in the summer? What type of signings
anybody
are you
knows
buy?
what the club's plan at the moment. I don't think anybody knows whether we're coming or going at the moment. Seriously, I don't think they do.
That's the point, Dan.
And again, if we would put the money down and show some ambition and some stability, we could attract. I mean, keep saying we are a big enough club to attract good players. I've just put the links on there for you, by the way.
Yeah, I saw.
Of the points ratio they've done it on. And we
as
can
I said, I
attract.
don't care.
We've also got
All I care is
London.
what can Tottenham attract. I don't care about.
We've also got London. London is a massive
Mhm.
attract things as well. I mean,
Sure.
I did tell this. I mean, when everyone thought Maddison would go Newcastle, I said blatantly, no, his missus wants London because she'd said it, and that is why he will go there. And the main reason he went there weren't the money; it was because she wanted London. London is a big pulling power on its own, but
Sure.
the fact that we've got no ambition and we don't spend the money and there's no stability at the club either,
No.
it's
I agree.
whether
but
you're
this
coming
is
or
my
going,
point.
it's erratic.
This is my point, Dan. And footballers, as much as we say they only care about money, footballers, if they've got multiple options, will weigh up all of the other metrics. Right? If you've got 4 or 5 clubs who want to buy you and they're all going to give you 120 grand, 30 grand, 130 grand a week, now you start looking at other factors. What's the team been like for the last few years?
Yeah.
What's the manager like?
What am I
the
going to
plan?
win? What am I
are they
going to
gonna
win?
What are they?
Yeah.
Right? All of these things. And as I keep saying at the moment, other clubs have a plan. You can see Bournemouth. Look at them as a football club. So well run. The funny thing is, when I big up Bournemouth, I'm told by people that blah 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 Bournemouth. Yeah, look how many players of Bournemouth's teams people in the chat have said today we should go and buy. Right?
Mhm.
It makes me
At the
laugh.
start of the season, who would have said that?
Teams like Bournemouth and Brighton know their place. You know, they are the feeder teams for the bigger clubs. They are. But they do a hell of a job to maintain their position, you know, maintain their Premier League, like I would say survival, but they're both comfortable in the Premier League. But they maintain enough to stay in the Premier League, sort of in the middle. All right, they're both doing it. You know, I take it they're both in the top half this season, but they're sort of in the middle.
Yep.
You know, so they got no chance going down, no chance going up. You look at the job Brighton do. Brighton lose their best players every summer. Every summer it seems like 2 or 3 will be shipped out, but they've got a conveyor belt of the next load coming in. And they'll bring them in for, I take it, 5 million, maybe 10 at tops, and they sell them on for 60 or 70.
It's the same sort of thing that I've
I
said
think
before.
that's what Tottenham wanted to do.
You don't have to buy 60, 70 million players to get yourself a good or a very good squad together. What you need is a very good scouting system and be willing to spend a little bit extra
And a manager
as well.
And a coach.
Manager
Goes
that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But to go and actually, if you want the best players here and now, proven best, you got to pay the money. That's all there is to it. But you can more than, if you've got a good a good scouting system, go out and put together a very nice team as well for significantly less money. But that comes down to another thing we've been very poor at, and that is our scouting system.
We've only got to see with Lange that came in. You notice that Villa never fought tooth and nail to keep him. They almost pushed him out the door and said, "Off you go, see you later." You know, there was no fight from Villa to actually keep this Johan Lange, whatever his name is. You know, he just left. You know, and what's he done since he's been here? I'd have Paratici back in a heartbeat if he's allowed. Mine. We don't know.
I just want forward thinking. I want a forward thinking director of football. I'll be honest, I don't want Paratici. I don't want Lang. I just want a forward thinking director of football that sees a vision, that sees moving forward. We're always putting out fires with our signings for the now rather than vision. And I don't mean loads of 18-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about loads of 18-year-olds. But look, why did you delete Yomi's comment? I haven't deleted anything. I don't know what we're talking about. Right. What I don't get about this is I feel like by the way, there's courses people can do on scouting and coaching and football management and stuff, online course. I would implore people to go and do that, because when I did it, my eyes were opened up to so much of why you don't just say sign him. It's like, okay, cool. The factors that go into it, you've got to remember, these are multi-millionaires. These are multi-millionaires. For them to move, they're asking the question. And yes, Spurs might be an appeal because we're in London. And yes, Spurs might be bigger than other clubs. But if I'm a top footballer right now, I'm sorry, guys, I'm looking at Tottenham Hotspur and I'm going, what a shambles, right?
No, that's where I agreed with you earlier. And
no, I know.
I mean,
I know.
like what I said, I agreed with what the fellas, Matt said. We are a bigger club, but we just have no pulling power and don't use it to our advantage in any means or manner. We don't act like a big club. That is the biggest thing. We don't act like a big club.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But you've only got
the fact that Son's still here says it all. The fact that Son is still here says it all. He should have already been gone 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong. Love the player. He's been excellent. Everything else, but he's blatantly passed his sell-by date. And someone who acts like a big club like Chelsea, City, or you go into Bayern Munich or whatever else, they would have already had him gone just as he was getting to the crossover.
You look at what Fergie used to do with Man United every year, or most years. One or two of their real top players. Your David Beckhams. You know, time to you know.
Keep
I mean,
fresh, new blood, out of the
new
old.
blood, freshness.
Yeah. By the way, but we've got fans that say things like this. We aren't a shambles whatsoever. We're in free competitions. This has been statistically our worst 15 months for 30 years. And we've got fans who don't think it's a shambles. Like,
I think what that one is where we haven't been in free competitions and actually close to winning one of them for so long. We are that desperate for something.
In Europa League and failed to get out the group stage. This isn't new.
No.
But this isn't new. It's not like we've done anything brilliant. We've beaten 4 shit teams en route to go into qualifying for the Europa League. Right? The FA Cup, we've played Tamworth and nearly messed that up. Right? Yeah, we're in the semi-final of a Carabao Cup. We've all seen that before.
For now.
If you don't think this is a shambles...
It goes back to that point of what others will tell you of why they have that opinion, because that is all we can have on this is an opinion. We can go by all the facts and figures and that, but when it comes down to it, some people will stick by their love nor money, even if you could say, right, you can say we were in 3 cups. No one can tell me for a fact that we won't win those 3 cups. Right. We ain't going to win them. I know that. Used to know that. A lot of people know that. But because we can't say it for a fact, you'll always have that 1% on there that say we can do it because we haven't been kicked out of it yet. To me, it's just using common sense and logic on it. And a lot of people will just hold on to it with the fact that we are in it. We can still win it, which is true. But are we going to win it? I very much doubt it. League Cup is possible. I mean, do I see us going Anfield and getting it? No, not at all. But
I had a very interesting conversation. Mr. Lubo phoned me a couple of days ago, and he told me
everyone, doesn't he? He loves it.
No, I don't know. He must have pressed the wrong button to phone me, but like he phoned me and he said, you look from the Chelsea game when we were top of the league to the end of the season, right? The 28 games, whatever it was, we were 12th in the form guide. In the form for the last 28 games, we were 12th. Right now, we're 15th, and so things have not really changed. We're still there or thereabouts because we're only, 2 or 3 points away from 12th, so we're doing a little bit worse. But this has been going on since the first 10 games, you know, and so to say like we've suddenly fallen off a cliff is nonsense. It's been going on now for 28 games last year and 20 this, so it must be 50 games. It's been going on.
Mark, just quickly. Sorry, everyone in the chat. I don't know what's been said, but someone accusing someone else of being racist, and this guy's pack it.
There was a sort of racist comment in there, and someone deleted it.
Let's move on. The comment was deleted. I don't want a great big debate about whether or not it's about racism. Please, can we Can we please talk football? Right, we've
Yeah.
got a lot more worrying things going on at Spurs than worrying about a racist comment. Right, it's been removed. Whatever it is, people, please just think about comments before you put them in, and let's talk football. No need for racism or anything with slight connotations. Let's just talk football.
I'll tell you backstage what the comment was.
I didn't see it. Yeah, put back. I didn't
Yeah.
see what it was. But, Dan, I mean, look, I agree with you, mate. Absolutely. But the bigger thing is, if you look at the 15 months of our form across all formats, it is a shambles. It has been a shambles. And
Total.
I can't look at being in the League Cup semi-final and go, we're not in a shambles because we might get to one final. All right, but we're 9 points off the top half. Like, we're not. Do you remember, Dan, a few months ago where people were going, oh, Savva, you're so negative. We're only 4 points off top four. Now we're 9 points off top half. Like, it's absolutely mad.
I didn't think we would be this low. Not at all. I didn't think he'd actually managed to break us this badly. But if all the players come back, has injuries had anything to deal with it? Okay, maybe 1 or 2 games. If we would have had our full team, we could have got a point out of it or something. But I don't think we'd be in that much of a different position. Like the other thing I said to you yesterday before the game, if we had Harry Kane in the team, I still don't think we'd be doing significantly better because we'd still be conceding so many goals.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He doesn't solve the midfield and the back four. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't
definitely
solve
not.
the style of play. When we say, by the way, have you noticed how our players are playing better in the cup competitions? By the way, I think we've been absolutely dreadful in the Europa League, if we're going to be brutally honest. We failed to beat Roma. We failed to beat Galatasaray. We failed to beat Rangers, and we've beaten the 4 poor teams we've played. We beat Karabag, who are one of the lowest ranked teams in Europe. We've beaten AZ Alkmaar, who are poor. We've beaten Ferencváros, who are poor, and we beat Hoffenheim, who are in a relegation battle in Germany. If that is going to be our benchmark, we struggled with Tamworth, we struggled with Coventry. So what you mean is here, what we've actually done in cup competitions is a good win v Man U, which we tried our best to throw away. Do you remember? Right, 3-0 up, and a good win against Man City. So
no, that was a good win. That was a good win.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that. But when people go, have you noticed how we are playing better in cup competitions? In Europe, we ain't played anyone yet. We haven't played anyone of note yet in Europe. And the 2 remotely decent teams we played, Roma, who had just sacked their manager the week before, and Galatasaray, who, pardon?
On their 3rd manager now.
On their 3rd manager of the season. We couldn't beat both those teams. We couldn't
and
beat
Rangers. I'm not sure if you heard this, because I had the sound up watching the game last night. We are still actually favourites to win the Europa League. They said it on the commentary. I never checked it out, but we are still favourites, allegedly.
Yeah.
To win the whole thing.
Maybe on reputation, but I don't think on terms of...
It's not evidence, is it? It's not on performances.
No. Well, we'll see, right? We'll see. Hang on. Who sent me this? We'll see. Hang on a second. I don't know. Okay, right. I've seen the comment. Look, guys, I mean... Look, I've seen the comment now. Look, it's one of those ones. It's going to offend some people. It's not going to offend others. Let's just stick away from anything that could be misconstrued, eh? I don't care. Cuss the shit out of each other about football. I don't care. Not about other stuff. It's just not worth it.
I will admit, I have put a very similar comment into a chat. But I didn't consider it racist. But
mate, I've seen it. Look, for me, it's one of them ones. I probably wouldn't have picked it up, but look, it is what it is. Look, I want to last few minutes, and then we'll shut off the show. Look, we know we've got 8 days left of the transfer window, whatever's going on. 10 days left of the transfer window. So we'll watch this space for that. Yeah, I love this. These people I don't know where they come from. When Vidi Romero back, Gray in midfield, you've never seen Gray in midfield for Spurs. With Bergvall, Maddison, our team will be transformed. A midfield 3 of Gray, Bergvall, Maddison will be run through for fun. Just putting it out there. Guys, last thing, just for the last 5 minutes, Leicester City this weekend. Massive game. For me, this is bigger than the Hoffenheim game.
Yeah.
For me, look, as I've said, we're not going to get relegated, but like Dan said, we are down there. We are in relegation form. And the worst thing we want to do is give Leicester City a win to allow them to even to begin to close the gap on Tottenham Hotspur. Are we worried about Leicester City? This is the worst. This team has got the worst form in the Premier League. Should
Dr.
we be
Tottenham.
winning this?
Dr. Tottenham. Cures all your ills. We should be. We should be, but it's like I said right at the beginning. I honestly don't know what Tottenham are going to turn up. I mean, I have said we will win, but I won't equally be surprised if we lose. You know, I have said that we will win, probably 2 or 3-1. But if we lost 2-1, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. So, but I am going to go for us to win. I am going to go for us to win.
Dan, are you backing Spurs to get 3 points on Sunday?
I think we should get 2-1 out of that. But again, it's another situation of nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
Nothing would shock me. Nothing would surprise me, let alone shock me. We are in just that situation at the moment where if we go and lose, say, 2-0, 2-1 to Leicester, the most I'd probably do is raise an eyebrow sort of thing. Nothing would surprise me right now.
Yeah, I said before yesterday's game, I see 3 wins from the next 3 games. For me, there was no excuse. I don't care whether we're putting out what players. So we've got to beat Hoffenheim, they're awful. We've got to beat Leicester City, they're awful. And you've got to beat Elfsborg at home because you're at home and that qualifies you automatically for Europe. So for me, I'll stick by that. What I want to see is get those 3 wins. What we're doing after that, you've then got Brentford, followed by Liverpool, followed by Villa. These are the games I want to look at, followed by Man United, if I'm not wrong. These are the games where I want to see what are we doing. But for me, get these first 3 wins in a row. Get some momentum. Yes, they're games we should be winning. They're easier, but get the 3 games in a row. Move forward then into Brentford, Liverpool, Villa, and we'll see. But I know what will happen. We'll win on Sunday and everyone will go, there you go. Everything's great. We're playing crap teams. And I'll tell you what, I think Ange is the luckiest man alive that he's got these 3 in a row. I think he's a very, very lucky manager. I don't know if that's me being harsh, lads, but I think this is a very lucky manager to get Hoffenheim, Leicester and Elfsborg in a row and 2 of them at home.
Yeah.
I think he's the luckiest man to have a bloody job.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Look,
Definitely.
Matt, hang on, mate. You can't be sitting there bigging up every Spurs player and your manager all day long. You did this yesterday. Oh, it's going to be a tough game with Hoffenheim. They're crap. Oh, Leicester's. You can't do this. You keep telling us how great Ange is. You can't do this. You know, you can't do this. Look, guys, thank you so much. Loved it. By the way, for anyone that says this is an echo chamber, Dan, we always have a good row, don't we? You noticed?
Yeah, many a time. I mean, the funny thing was, it was
a
the
row and a debate, though.
Of course there is.
You know what I mean?
His figure of speech.
Yeah.
His figure of speech.
Yeah.
It was the first thing me and you ever had a debate about.
Yeah.
Like, who was
And by the way,
club.
Dan and I don't finish the stream and then get upset with each other. It's just bloody football.
What happens on the pitch stays on the flipping pitch, doesn't it?
No, absolutely. Yeah, Miss Bunny. So, by the way, did we not draw with a Leicester with a fully fit team? Yes. Yeah, you know, we did. I'm just looking. Look, if we look at Leicester, just quickly before we go, guys, let's have a look at Leicester City.
Vardy always likes to go against us.
Hang on, where are we? Teams, Leicester City. Right, let's have a look at Leicester. All right, where's their results? Scores and fixtures. Here we go. For Leicester City, let's work backwards. Leicester City, here we go. So their last whatever games. So they lost to Fulham 2-0 at home. They lost to Palace at home 2-0. They beat QPR 6-2 in the cup. They lost 2-1 away at Villa. Before that, they lost to Man City. They lost to Liverpool. They lost 3-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. They lost 4-0 to Newcastle. Drew with Brighton. Their last win in the Premier League came on the 3rd of December, right? So we're going back, 8 weeks, if I'm not wrong?
It's got to be nearly 8. Yeah,
right?
It is 8 weeks.
Right.
But if you just said that was Tottenham's results, that sounds very similar.
Sure, but if this manager, Mark, I'll ask everyone in the chat, if he can't beat that Leicester team, I've just read you out about 10 results in a row in the league that they've not won, right? If they cannot beat that Leicester team at White Hart Lane, he's got to get the chops at Sunday night. There's no coming back from that, surely. That would be 1 win in 11 league games. That's why I think we will win.
I think he's got about another 2 weeks, even if he does get a defeat there. Like I said, they'll wait until February. Yeah, they're going to wait until February.
I think till the transfer window's done, and then the excuse will come out. That's why we never signed no one.
Exactly. I've been saying it for 3 months, Mark. That's what I reckon it will be.
But Dan, I agree with you on that theory. Yeah. Don't you think if we lose to Leicester and then he's sacked in the next 2 days afterwards, you're literally saying, hang on, there's no time to do anything in the window anyway? Like, surely he can't survive.
No, fair point.
Matt, by the way, when you're saying it depends what happens, no. When you've lost this many games for a year and a half, right, it stops being about that, and it is about the managers doing a shit job. Matt, I'd love to hear you critique one thing. Critique one thing about Ange. But you can't do it. You can't just keep losing games. He has to beat Leicester City. I am saying he will. I am saying we will win that. I said we will win 3 straight off. I truly believe it. But, hey, guys, thank you so much. Really enjoyed that. Just so you know, guys and girls, I will be back at 5 p.m. for a brand new show with a boy Hotspur called the Bad Guy and the Mad Guy. Lots of people have been asking for that collaboration, so we're making that happen at 5 p.m. today. Haven't had him on for ages, so it'll be interesting to see a different perspective. Aranya is saying Biss, Sart, and Spencer are out for the weekend. We'll see. But it is what it is. Any last things you want to say, lads, before we go?
Can I say that the likes are absolutely disgraceful? It's about just under 50%, just over 50%.
Mate, I've given up with the likes. It's so difficult. You think it's free. All you need is people to just press one little button. MT desperately wants me to answer this. Savva, 14th for nothing or 6th for the cup. Do you know what? For the last 17 years of being a Spurs fan, I am so bored of being asked these types of questions, right? It shouldn't be that if we win a League Cup, we finish 14th in the league. Listen, I want to win a League Cup. If the man finishes 14th in the league, I want him sacked. It's that simple for me. Sorry.
I don't see why you can't. I don't understand why you can't have both.
I know what he meant, by the way. I knew that.
Consistent league form and a bit of silverware at the end. I'm not saying win the league and do like doubles and triples, but get 5th, 6th.
We're like vampires like no blood, because it's been so long now since we've won anything. I was one of the ones who said, stick us down the table, fine, and if we win a cup with it, I'll be a happy man, and I still would.
I said that.
Would it mean I still want him at the club? Not if we end up finishing 15th, 16th, 17th sort of thing. Because it's not showing much. But if he went and done that, I suppose a lot of us would just sort of shrug our shoulders, say, okay, don't particularly want him here, but let's see what he does in the next 6 months and we'll be back to square one again. But
Dan, I acknowledge, by the way, I think what people have got to understand here is me saying I want him out doesn't have any bearing on what the club actually do to get him out, right? It's just my opinion as a football fan, right? So it's like, Dan, when people come in and go, give him till the end of the season. ain't my choice. Like, it's not my choice. I don't rate him. I don't like him as a manager. Nothing people are going to say to me is going to make me change my mind unless I see it. Yeah. Winning a cup, brilliant. Winning the League Cup, great. Let's see him do it first, because he's got a really tough away game to Liverpool. And if he gets through that, you've then got a tough game against Newcastle United or Arsenal. So let's have that conversation when we win it. If he wins it, I think he buys himself more time. That doesn't mean I like him.
No.
It doesn't mean I rate him.
If you could see him, like last night's game, when we were 2-0 up, if he'd have sat back a bit and controlled the game, you know, kept possession instead of just playing nonsense football. If we'd have sat back, controlled possession, and then hit them on the break and took our chances when we had the chances, then fine. I'd be all right with it. But it's the gung-ho nonsense all the time. When we concede so many goals with 2 at the back, when we're 2-0 up anyway. You know, I just can't get behind that.
Let me ask you this, right? I always do this. I always go to end the show and then I just end up staying for ages. Let me ask you this. Are you two okay for a few minutes to talk?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Winning a cup, great. We've all wanted the cup for ages. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. But we are Tottenham Hotspur. Finishing 14th should never be acceptable by any metric. It shouldn't be, we finished 14th, but we won 5 games in a row to win a cup, right? 14th is not acceptable. Now, I know there are people out there that say, I'll happily finish 17th if we win a cup. Sure, but all that will mean to me, Mark, is that we go into next season, all right, we've won the cup, but we finished 14th, and I'm going, we're shit still. Right? Yeah. We are shit. The league is the barometer for me. Winning a cup, brilliant. I want to win a trophy more than anyone. I'm not foregoing the league. I'm not prepared to say we finished 14th and behind Forest, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brighton. Yeah. I'm not prepared to say that. And everything's all right. If you admit, kick on. But
I will admit, I was one of those. I used to put it in your chat, Dan's chat, 17th in a cup, just to get the monkey off the back. You know that we ain't won nothing for years on end. But to be honest, yes, that gets the monkey off your back for. You know, no one can come at us. You don't win nothing. You don't do that. You know, you never win anything. Yes, that's gone. But 17th, you know, that's, you know, I mean, it's like I said, we as Tottenham fans and the state and the stature of the club is, well, I say the stature, but the stuff we got now, the stadium, the training ground, all the concerts, the boxing is going to go because someone junior's going there now, aren't they? Boxing. Eubank Junior was announced yesterday to go there. Like, with all that, we should not be 15th, 17th, 16th in the league. No way.
I agree. And
no way.
By the way, Mark, look at this. So again, our mate Matt, right, is now you're being a dick. First of all, you need to understand what the word pedantic means. Second of all, we won't finish 14th. We will finish top 10. Okay, so let's have a look at that then, Matt. On what evidence? Look at this, right? By the way, I've just about managed to get Spurs on. Let me scroll down a little bit, right? That's how low we are. Right.
We're 4 points off 10th.
No, we're not.
15, 24.
We're 9 points off 10th.
Oh, 9 points. Yeah. So, right. Sorry, I was looking at Brentford. Yeah, so 9
Matt,
points.
When you say we will finish top 10, first and foremost, finishing 10th is not good, right?
No.
First and foremost, let's not set that as a bar. Second of all, Fulham who are there currently at the moment, right? Fulham who are there currently at the moment, what that means is we've got to do 3 to 4 games better in the last 16 than Fulham. So let's just assume, I'm going to be really cautious. I don't want to offend Fulham. Let's assume, guys, I'll just go on a 1 in 3 basis. Fulham win 5 of their last 16, right? 5 wins, 5 draws, 6, I don't know, right? 5. That means Tottenham have to win 8 of our last 16, right? We then need a 50% win rate and we've won 7 out of 22, but now we're going to need to win 8 of 16. That's assuming that Fulham only win 5 games. And the reason we use Fulham is because they're currently in 10th place, right? So, Matt, again, when I say you don't use this, look at the table, right? Tell me why we are going to finish 10th. It's madness.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it's starting to look highly unlikely.
Yeah, it's highly. Yeah, obviously,
It's not impossible. It's not, Dan, but you get my point, right? We
totally. But it's what I said to you earlier. It's the same thing. You cannot tell him for a fact that we are not going to do that. And he will stand by that come hell or leather. But we all know, we're pretty sure, I don't think we're going to finish top 10. And I've got solid reasons why. Whereas a lot of people will just live on the hope of that you can't say it for a fact.
And looking at that table now, we may catch Brentford, who are 4 points ahead of us.
Sure. But I look at these teams, right? Have a look at those teams above, other than Brentford. Have a look at these teams above us. Fulham don't lose many. Yeah. Brighton don't lose many. Villa, Bournemouth, Newcastle, they don't lose many. This is the difference. We now need these teams that don't lose many to suddenly lose loads and loads of games. We don't win many. We've got to suddenly win loads and loads of games. Yeah. I just find it a bit disingenuous. Again, it's, look, our players are coming back. Other teams will drop off. The drop off will need to be huge, Matt. I'm not saying, by the way, finishing 10th is embarrassing, by the way. Like if we're going to go, see, we did finish 10th. Matt, we are 9 points off of Fulham.
The trouble is with
look at Fulham's form. Fulham have lost 1 in their last 6. They don't lose many games.
The trouble is with what Matt said about our players are coming back. We were just as bad when the players were here.
We'd lost half the games when we had the full team, didn't we?
Yeah,
they don't want those facts, Mark. They don't want those facts. If I say to Matt right now, Matt, why was this our worst start in a Premier League season for 17 years after 12 games when all the players were fit? Why?
Yeah.
Why? I bet you he'll come out with some smart ass answer, but he'll be wrong.
It's the tactics. I've said it over and over again. Give him the best team that this world we could sit here and put together now, and I bet you he still wouldn't win a top league.
Was it when Ipswich beat it at home? Ipswich beat us at home. Romero, Palace, Ipswich. I believe certainly Newcastle. One of Romero or Van der Ven was in the team. Probably both of them.
Let's have a look.
So
let's have a look, shall we? Tottenham 1, Ipswich 2. Come on, I don't want the highlights. No, don't do that. Give me the team.
Probably completely wrong now. And we had Ben Davis and
no, we didn't. No.
I was going to say I'm pretty certain that at least one of them was in there.
Hang on, I'm just trying to find the team. Here we go. Right, here we go. Tottenham's team that day. So again, this is why when people like MT and Matt say these things as though it's a given, Tottenham's team on the day was Vicario, Porro, Romero, Dragoshin and Udogie. Sarr, Bentancur, Kulu, Johnson, Solanke, Son. So the only player missing there is Van der Ven.
Yeah.
And that Ipswich team beat us. Now let's go back, shall we, and look at what happened when we played Crystal Palace. Right? Let's see the team that played against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace v Spurs. Right? Crystal Palace 1-0 at sorry, no, that's not it. That's October. No. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong season. Sorry. 1 second. Sorry. I don't want the highlights. I want this. Here we go. So the Spurs team that lost to Crystal Palace was thusly. Where's the team news? Here we go. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie. Basuma, Maddison, Kulu, Johnson, Solanke, Moore. So the only one missing there is Son.
Yeah, and he's done nothing anyway.
Right. So
that's
again,
not really a miss.
So again, Matt and MT that keep saying these things, right? they keep saying these things. When we had these players, did we beat Leicester with all those players fit? No. Did we beat Newcastle with all those players fit? No. Did we beat Arsenal with all those players fit? No. Right? We keep doing this. We keep revising what's actually happened. When they come back, we're going to win every game. Well, we weren't when they were fit.
Yeah.
But we are going to wrap up. I can't keep doing it with Matt and MT. And Matt is clearly showing himself to be a, Newcastle and Arsenal. Even with players, sure, but Leicester, Ipswich, and Crystal Palace shouldn't have been. We gave Ipswich and Crystal Palace their first wins of the season. Let this sink in. Right? On October the 27th, Tottenham lost to Palace. Right? Palace hadn't won a league game. Palace are now above us. Let that sink in if you want to know how bad we've been. Guys, thank you. Mark, please, right now, please feel free to put your link in. Same with you, Dan, if you want to. Guys and girls, please subscribe to my guests. It's always polite. It's kind to do. But please, do subscribe. Please subscribe to me as well. We've only had 6 today, which is a bit worrying. Please do subscribe to the Hotspur Hoods and to the Two Marks Show. Guys, love you both. Thank you. Love the debates. Everyone knows how we get in football debates. Thank you very much. I'll be live 5 p.m. 5 p.m. I'll be joined by the boy Hotspur. Something different, something new. Join me then. Take care, everyone. And as always, Levy out, Enoch out, Ange out. But come on, you Spurs. And thank you, Sanctuary of 7, for gifting a Football Heritage TV membership. Love you, bro. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. And as always, can't think of anything to say. See ya. Bye.